first.
Taking exams and getting certified in a matter of just months.
Even better, you can work from anywhere.
Wherever you are. If you're on vacation, you can still clock in. I work out of my house in my pajamas.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them.
Launch a new high-demand career in IT or level up with more certifications. Build a career in record time with less money.
I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone. Indeed, it was the right move for me.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
Are you looking for the perfect holiday gift? Did you know that Bailey's has something for everybody and every budget? Sure, we're known for our designer jewelry, fine diamonds, and luxury watches, but we also have a vast selection of beautiful jewelry and gifts under $500. You can make a piece of our Bailey's collection yours this Christmas. Add a little sparkle with the popular Icon Collection Tiny Diamond Hoops in either white, rose, or yellow gold for $395. For only $250, check out our beautiful Sterling Collection Diamonds by the Yard bracelet. Or select one of our Bailey's perfect layering necklaces. For $325, our Gold Mark Station necklace, or for only $275, our Icon Puffed Heart pendant. We're celebrating over 75 years of making holiday gifting easy. You can shop online at baileybox.com, or we invite you to visit one of our locations in Raleigh, Cary, Rocky Mount, and Greenville to see why every woman wants a Bailey box under the tree.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com. WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
We're at absolutely one of the weirdest moments in time. We're about to see tomorrow night the first college football playoff, which is something the sport has desperately needed. But on the other side of it, the model is breaking apart. It has been shattered. There is so much wrong in the sport. So I've never quite seen a moment where there is so much enthusiasm and excitement, but also so much fear on the other side of whether this is going to be like the Big Bang.
I'm excited about the college football playoff this weekend. Not sure about the rest of y'all, but I'm all in.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all in, Victoria. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold today. I think he's off the rest of the year, Victoria. Right?
I know. We're not going to see him again until 2025, I guess.
Wow.
I know.
Set your calendars, folks. It's that time.
It's crazy.
Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon, getting you ready for a fun weekend of sports.
Yes.
By the way, all three ACC basketball schools in the state of North Carolina going to be in action this weekend. We also have college football playoff games starting tonight. By the way, tomorrow, we're going to dive into this here in a little bit. Tomorrow, one of the best days of just pure football I've ever seen listed in terms of like what's at stake, the quality of matchups. Tomorrow's going to be awesome. We're going to dive into that a little bit. But also, Victoria, it's that time of year again. It's the holidays, right?
I know.
It's the holidays, but you know what that means. Coming up later today, we will have the 12 days of Tepper.
Nice.
We will all have the 12 days of Tepper.
Which is 12 too many. Sorry.
No lies detected. No lies detected. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. As I mentioned, it's a fun weekend of football. We're going to dive more into the games here in a little bit later on today, but the college football playoff gets started tonight. Indiana takes on Notre Dame, and then 3 more games tomorrow. You have SMU on the road at Penn State. That's a noon kickoff. You have Clemson at Texas. I think if I remember correctly, that's a 4 o'clock game. And then Tennessee at Ohio State. And again, starting Indiana at Notre Dame tonight, the battle of the Hoosier State. The beautiful thing about this, first of all, first time the CFP has expanded to 12 games, something we pretty much all know. But all these games are played on actual college campuses. Like postseason play on actual campuses as opposed to just neutral site. Like we saw with the college football playoff when it was just 4 teams. You know, it was like, hey, the college football playoff semifinal at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl down in Atlanta or the Fiesta Bowl out there in Arizona. You're going to see Indiana actually playing at Notre Dame. You're seeing SMU going into Happy Valley with the whiteout and everything like that. Clemson going down into Texas. All these different things. Gosh, Tennessee going to the Horseshoe. That is awesome. If you're a college football fan like I am, this is amazing. Mm-hmm. This is, get all the pageantry of college sports, games being played on campuses. I absolutely love it. Now, we could talk about how the format of the playoff, all that. That's, to me, that's already been exhausted up to this point. Now it's about actually winning games. Go ACC.
Yes.
Go ACC. Clemson on the road at Texas. SMU on the road at Penn State. Let's go ACC. Let's go.
I'm ready for it.
You know what? I'm all in. I'm all in on SMU. Victoria,
yes.
Go Stangs.
Right?
Go Stangs.
Go
I'm
Stangs.
all in on SMU taking down Penn State. You know why? Because Penn State can't beat good teams when it counts. Just go ahead and look when the amount of times they've beaten Ohio State under James Franklin. Just look, when they beat Michigan. Oh wait, you can't find it under James Franklin because that's what they do, or I guess in this case, don't do. For SMU, we saw 2 weeks ago in Charlotte, Bank of America Stadium for the ACC championship game. They're kind of like shocked a little bit, like a team that had not been there before. They started off super slow, if I remember correctly. They fell behind 21-0. Now they scratched and clawed all the way back, and then ended up being a walk-off field goal is when ended up losing the game. But there's a little bit of that, like turnover right from the get-go from their offense. There's a little bit of that shock factor of like, oh my gosh, like bright lights, big stage. Because they hadn't experienced it yet. Not that they weren't talented enough, it's just having been there before. Whereas Dabo Swinney and Clemson, they've been there before.
The film was still on the phone.
Exactly. Exactly.
You keep it plastic on as long as you can.
So I'm wondering how now SMU reacts.
Yeah.
Now, okay, you felt it before. Let's see how you react going in. But that's also my curiosity when it comes to Penn State. It's because Penn State's never, under James Franklin, these guys haven't played in a Big Ten championship game. It was either Ohio State or Michigan ahead of them in those games. They've never been in a college football playoff before either. So this is and you're at home. It's like there's some added pressure that comes to that. SMU can go like, hey guys, we've experienced this before. Now we know how to handle it mentally going into this next game. But also, hey guys, it's us against the world. People say we're not supposed to be here. People said that we shouldn't be here and Alabama's supposed to be, or South Carolina or whomever. They say that we're not supposed to be here. It's that whole us against the world mentality. Lean into that going in. Lean into it going in. Let's go Stangs.
I know.
Let's go Stangs on this one. Clemson on the road at Texas. This one's intriguing to me in the sense that, again, Texas made the college football playoff last year. Clemson's been in college football playoff games before. In terms of the coaching staff and guys knowing how to handle it, that's a wash in my mind. Biggest thing for Texas is how do they respond to that loss against Georgia, where offensively they came out of the gates hot, and then all of a sudden it just crumbled and fell apart. You have plenty of chances to beat Georgia, and you end up losing that game. Quinn Ewers, after the first couple drives, struggled. How do they respond? Whereas Clemson's hey, little old Clemson. Dabo can pull little old Clemson. No one's counting on us. Everyone's doubting us. The whole us against the world thing. It's the ACC against the world, Victoria.
I know.
It's the ACC
It's a lot of orange in that game, too.
It's a lot of orange.
It's
very clashing shades of orange.
A lot of orange.
Clashing shades of orange in that one with a tad of purple.
I know.
With a tad of purple from Clemson.
A little speck.
Indiana on the road at Notre Dame. To me, both these teams played weak schedules. Yeah, Notre Dame played Texas A&M. They won the game, very first game of the year. That was early in the season. But after that, Who'd you play? You lost to Northern Illinois. Probably the worst loss of any team that made the college football playoff. Indiana, the only real test that they had on their schedule was Ohio State, and that really wasn't that close after the first drive. Really wasn't that close. I'm intrigued by this one. Can Indiana actually follow up with the hype? Is Notre Dame that good, or are we just looking at the shiny golden dough? Then there's Tennessee at Ohio State. Ohio State, it's kind of like Texas in this regard of how do you bounce back? Because the last time we saw Ohio State play was against Michigan, where they lost 13-10 against a team they had no business being in a close game with. They should have ran away with that game, but they kept getting in their own way. Also, you have the questions of, is Ryan Day, the Ohio State head coach, really coaching for his job? It's kind of wild to think about. I feel like all the pressure's on Ohio State to win this one. Tennessee, speaking of a lot of orange, go have fun. Go play upset on the road. That's going to be a fun weekend. Also, some other games of the weekend.
Ooh.
Carolina Panthers at home against the Arizona Cardinals. It's a 1 o'clock kick in Charlotte.
Oh, that I'm not going to be able to watch.
Well, that's a different conversation for another time, Victoria.
Thanks, Fox.
Different conversation for another time.
Barf.
Well, you might be doing that if you're watching the Panthers play. Let's be real, because the run defense stinks, Victoria.
Maybe.
Let's call it what it is.
But ride or die.
Hey, I respect that. I respect that.
Even when it
Keep
hurts.
Getting pounded. We saw Bryce Young in this last game against the Dallas Cowboys struggles. The first time since he has come back to being the starting quarterback that I think he really had a clunker. Now, the Denver Broncos game, his first game back as a starter, I don't think that was a great game either. Yeah, they had the opening touchdown drive because the defense actually got a turnover. He had a short field, only had to go 49 yards, took 10 plays to do so. But you got a touchdown. He made a touchdown pass to Xavier Legette. Between then and the final drive of the game, where they went, I think it was 93 yards or 97 yards, when it was already 28-7 and the game was already out of hand in the final 2 minutes of the game, and you had a touchdown pass to Jalen Coker. The in-between of that was pretty terrible, where you had over a 9-drive stretch, you had more turnovers. You had 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions that was, than you had first downs. And you also had more delay of games than you had first downs over a 7-drive stretch. It was not very good. A lot of 3-and-outs. Not very many first downs. So it wasn't that great. But the thing about this past Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys was that first drive, the offense was humming. They were working the ball down the field. On the 13th play of that drive, you're in the red zone. That's when Bryce Young puts a spin-a-Rooney move on Micah Parsons. He's just trying to dive forward to get extra yards. Ball gets punched out. Didn't take care of the football.
Spin-a-Rooney.
Yeah.
Sounds like Adam Reed. Or Adam's not here. Andy Reid should be making that his next commercial.
He should.
Spin-a-Rooney.
So he makes that move on Micah Parsons, dives forward, but the ball gets knocked out. Gets punched out. Great play by the Dallas defender. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. From that point on, it just derailed. And I know Dave Canales spoke about it after the game, and he spoke about it on Monday about how the offense needs to remind themselves, hey, guys, look, you were doing all this good. Yes, that drive ended in a turnover, but let's go back to what was making you successful that got you the red zone in the first place. That's the thing that popped into my head was, hey, your offense was moving. All right, it did not end that drive the way you wanted to. Let's get right back to what you were doing, because what you were doing was working, and then everything just fell apart from that point on. The next drive, it ends up being 3 plays and a punt. You had 3rd and 5. You got a false start from Cade Mays, your center, who, I'm not going to lie, has struggled over the last 3 weeks. I think that's one of the reasons why we've seen a regression in offensive line play as a whole. But after that first turnover, everything fell apart. You had 2 more turnovers, 2 more interceptions, plus another fumble by Bryce Young, 4 total turnovers. And even though you had that 83-yard touchdown pass to Jalen Coker and made it 10-7 going into halftime. And I thought, hey, you know what? This is a chance for this team. I really wanted to see it from Bryce. I wanted to see it from the offense and say, hey, guys, look, we coughed it up. We Didn't get what we wanted offensively after that first drive, but it's only 3 points, and we get the ball to start the second half. I was like, hey, guys, opportunity, regroup. Let's go take the lead and take control of this game. You had that opportunity. Very first play of the second half. Damian Lewis, one of your big free agent signings who had his worst game as a Panther, gets beat up the middle. Bryce Young, who's looking to his left, gets hit square in his chest, loses the football in the very first play of the second half. Before you know it, Dallas is off and running. And Dallas is just off and running. How does Bryce Young and this offense respond to that terrible game on Sunday? That's my biggest question. Because your response in game was terrible. Your response in game was awful. How do you respond going into this one now? How do you bounce back from a bad game? Because, let's be honest, the last several games before Dallas, the last 5 games were tight. Yeah, the 1-point win at home against New Orleans. You had the 3-point overtime win on the road in Germany, neutral site game. You had an off week. Then you also had the home game against the Kansas City Chiefs, where Chiefs had a final 2-minute drive and walked off in the final second. Then against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Chuba Hubbard has the fumble in overtime, ends up costing you as Tampa Bay is able to kick a field goal after that. And then against Philadelphia, you go on the road. You had a 2-minute drive that you thought would have given you the lead late, but the ball goes through Xavier Leggette's hands, doesn't come up with the potential game-winning touchdown catch. So you were close in all these games, but now you actually faced adversity where you truly had a clunker. I don't know, Victoria, if the team drank their own Kool-Aid in the sense of, hey, we played a playoff team and the Bucks tight. We played a really good team in the Eagles tight. We played the reigning defending champions, the Chiefs, in a real tight game. Hey, we were close in all 3 of those games. Oh, it's only 5-8 Dallas coming in? Pfft, we're fine.
Right.
I don't know if that's the case, but last time I checked, you still lost to the Chiefs. You still lost to the Bucks. You still lost to the Eagles. I don't care if you lost them close. Loss is loss.
All L's.
All L's. And you just took a 4th one in a row. Yeah, you had that cool moment where you won back-to-back games against bad teams. Saints aren't good. Detroit's even worse than you are. I'm sorry, the Giants are even worse than you are. And you won those games by a combined 4 points. One had to go to overtime because you didn't put the pedal down against the New York Giants. How do you respond? Does Bryce go back into the mopey mode where he loses all of his confidence because he had a bad game? Because that's the last thing you need to have happen from him. If he wants to show that he can be the guy for the future of this team, it can't be like, all right, well, now you're struggling. We got to shut you down for 5 more weeks and put Andy Dalton back in for you to get a reset. It can't be that. You don't get that. You don't get that opportunity anymore. You just don't. You don't get that opportunity anymore. So, yeah, Bryce Young, 1, take care of the ball. I know you're going to be without Xavier Legette this weekend. I understand that David Moore might be a little nicked up because he's in concussion protocol. Who knows if he's going to play on Sunday or not. You never know with concussions, never guarantee.
Yeah.
But, you can't just get locked in on Adam Thielen. Can't be like, all right, third and first, need a first down here on this third down play. I'm just going to lock in on Thielen.
Nope. Can't
just be that because that's what led to your first interception on Sunday against Dallas. And then also late in the game when you needed a touchdown, you locked in on Adam Thielen. You're late on a pass, and you underthrew it mightily. It's going to be cold at Bank of America this Sunday. What, low 30s, mid 30s?
Think
it's going to be chilly.
Yeah.
Maybe 40. Anyway, it's going to be cold. And one thing that we saw in the Dallas game, Victoria, I don't know if you noticed this, a lot of wobbly passes from Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was the cold weather. I don't know what it was exactly, but...
High 42, low 23 in Charlotte.
It's going to be nice and chilly.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Sunny and cold.
I love it. Reminds me of the time I lived in Wisconsin. Sunny and cold.
Cheese curds.
After it snowed. Great cheese. Also coming up this weekend, actually tonight, Carolina Hurricanes are back in action.
Yeah, they are.
Carolina Hurricanes
Woo-hoo!
back in action. It's a hockey night in the state of Carolina.
Yep.
Even though the Canes are on the road with the Washington Capitals. Here's my big question when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes right now. Again, on the road in Washington tonight. I'm curious to see where this team goes from their recent stretch. Look at their last 12 games. 6-5-1 in their last 12 games. 6 wins, 5 losses in regulation, 1 loss in a shootout. That's a 500 hockey team. Let's call it what it is. That's a 500 hockey team. But if you shrink that down to just their last 6 games, Victoria, Canes are 4-2, including just getting a shutout win against the New York Islanders on Tuesday night. Now, in that game, the Islanders played pretty well. I'll be honest. I was there. They played pretty well.
Yeah.
But you were saved by your goaltending in that one. That was the big difference in that game, was Pyotr Kochetkov. My question is with this team going forward is, all right, are you that strong team that we saw start the season? That was lighting up the scoreboard, that was getting contributions from guys like Jack Roslovic, Eric Robinson, all these other new guys that you signed and brought in. Yeah, Aho was struggling a little bit, Svech was struggling a little bit, but also Martinez was carrying things. Where does this team go from here now? That's my big concern. Are you this 500 team that we've seen over the last 12 games? Or are you one of the top teams in the NHL like you've been if you look at the full season numbers? Who are you? That's something I'm really wondering to see what Rob Brind'Amour is going to take this team going forward. Rob Brind'Amour talked about some of those new guys. Like I mentioned, Jack Roslovic. Jack Roslovic started off the year strong, 13 goals this season. Had a really good year. Has more goals than he had all of last year. The big question for me when it comes to Jack Roslovic is the defensive side of the ice and how he fits in. But he also has the ability to play up and down the lineup. Rob Brind'Amour, the head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, talked about how Jack Roslovic is able to fit in and play with anybody.
You can have really good players that if they don't gel right, or on the east line, there's certain roles that have to get done for things to really gel. And his game suits. I think can play kind of anywhere if he sticks to what he does, right? If he tries to do something that's not in his game, then that's going to not do well. So he's done a nice job just kind of doing what he does, man. He comes out, skates, gets in there, and 'cause he's shown when he has an opportunity to make a play there too. So, it's been real, I don't want to say a pleasant surprise, but it's certainly been, with the offensive stuff, it's been nice.
Having that versatility is key. And this is something we've seen with the Carolina Hurricanes really throughout this entire season, is the ability to get up and down the lineup, or players the ability to move up and down the lineup. We've seen Eric Robinson, one of the new signees, play anywhere from down on the quote-unquote, I know Rob Brind'Amour doesn't name lines, but the quote-unquote fourth line. We've seen him play down there. We've also seen him play up at the top with guys like Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis. We've seen him play up there with those guys. So I am wondering where this team goes from here. I think there really are 31 games in. I think the next 9 games, when they get to that midpoint of the season, hit the midpoint over the next 9-10 games, really is going to show who this team is. Their big question mark is goaltending. Yeah, Dustin Tokarski had the awesome game about a week ago. Awesome performance. But
is it sustainable?
Exactly. You literally took the word right out of my mouth. Is it sustainable? That's the big question. You can't rely on Pyotr Kochetkov night in and night out. Especially, for example, this weekend. They play tonight, and then on Sunday it's a short day because they got to play a 12:30 puck drop on the road at the New York Rangers, who are reeling right now, by the way. They've already made multiple trades on their team. But they're reeling right now, so you play them on Sunday, and then on Monday you're in Nashville. Now, you might look at Nashville and say, well, they're one of the worst teams in the league in the standings. But they actually started piecing together their top guys like Steven Stamkos, Jonathan Marchessault, and Philip Forsberg together. And guess what? They're starting to score. They won. Actually, they lost in overtime last night against the Pittsburgh Penguins. But they're starting to score. The game was a 5-4 game. I watched that game. Don't ask me why. But I think it's a pivotal point for this team. Can guys like Aho and Svechnikov elevate their game to what they're being paid to play, to being what they're paid to be? It's on those two guys. I think it's also on Jarvis, but also Jesperi Kotkaniemi as well. Like, these guys need to raise their level of play. You can't ask Martinez to be 2 points a game every single night. It's just not sustainable. I mean, unless you're like truly like Connor McDavid. But even he doesn't get 2 points a night. Pivotal time. All right, next up. I have a correction to make, by the way.
Oh.
I mentioned how Penn State hadn't really played in any big games yet. I messed up. I forgot that Penn State actually backdoored the way into the Big Ten championship game and lost to Oregon. That's my mistake. I'm going to own that one. Because SMU's playing at Penn State. So I'm going to take what I said, correct myself on that one. Which, by the way, if you want to follow along on this show, make sure you go to 99.9 The Fan's YouTube page. 99.9 The Fan is the flagship station located in Raleigh for the Adam Gold Show. Go on their YouTube page. You can subscribe there, but also you can watch and leave comments in the comment section below. So make sure you do that. Some people are also wondering why, hey, look at that. Adam Gold taking off a holiday-adjacent day.
Yep. That's what he
smart.
Does. That's what he does.
Smart.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, Victoria.
He's got like 8 months of PTO, so he's got to spread it out.
He's been here for a while.
Yeah,
he's been here for a while.
Exactly.
But I do stand corrected on that. I forgot that. Also, big shout out to Chef Wolf for correcting me online as well. It's like, yeah, you're right. I stand corrected on that one. Speaking of, we had that conversation just a moment ago about the Carolina Panthers, correct? Mike Kaye, Charlotte Observer. There's been a lot of questions about the defense for the Carolina Panthers. They just gave up 200-plus yards again. Against one of the worst rushing teams in the NFL and the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys team on their offensive line that was makeshift, guys moving around in different places, had guys getting hurt during the game, so someone had to slide over here. Well, this guy came back, but then at the same time, someone else got hurt. They still ran for over 200 yards against the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. Against the Carolina Panthers team that, yes, I understand is without Derek Brown and without Shaq Thompson, but they had 9 of their 11 starters playing for them this past Sunday. 9 of 11. 9 of 11. There are teams in the NFL that would kill to have 9 of their 11 starters on either side of the ball right now at this time of year. Just ask the Detroit Lions.
I feel so bad for them.
I know.
Oh, man.
Like, they would kill to have 9 of their 11 starters.
Absolutely.
On defense right now. You can't be that reliant on one guy, Derek Brown. I know he's one of the best rush defenders, interior defensive linemen in the entire NFL, but you can't be that reliant on one guy.
Yeah, you can't be that on the bench.
Is there a change coming on defense this offseason for the Carolina Panthers? We'll talk about that with Mike Kaye, the Charlotte Observer, next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
During Bill Belichick's intro press conference for the University of North Carolina Tar Heels, the Tar Heels football program was the center of the sports universe, not just the college universe, the sports universe in general. So now here's what they have to do. Convert all that buzz into success, all those eyeballs into dollars, and win.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Adam Gold here for my friends down at Diamonds Direct Crabtree. My gosh, it's getting close. What are you going to get her? You know what you're going to get her, and you're going to go to Diamonds Direct Crabtree. Why? Because you will pay less for what she wants. Why else? Because they have the best selection of diamond, fine gemstone, even costume jewelry. They've got tons of stuff. Hey, if you want to watch, they've got it. No matter what she wants, they've got it at Diamonds Direct Crabtree. And they have it for less because there is no middleman markup. You're buying directly from the diamond manufacturer, so you will save money. Also, it's the best customer service you are going to find in diamond jewelry, fine gemstone jewelry. No better place to go. These people will treat you like family. In fact, you might start calling him Uncle Barack. He's a wonderful guy. They're all great people down there. Diamonds Direct Crabtree. You can shop online, diamondsdirect.com, but go to the showroom on Glenwood Avenue in front of Crabtree Valley Mall in Raleigh.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling. We do the job right every time. Mitchell Heating and Cooling is celebrating 51 years of trusted service. And to celebrate, get a furnace tune-up for just $51. That's peace of mind heating for only $51. Visit MitchellHVAC.com. Mitchell Heating and Cooling, quality products and services on time from a family you trust. It's hard to stop a train.
Get the Honda of your dreams during Happy Honda Days with a sporty new Civic, Accord, HR-V, or CR-V. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 2.9% APR on a 2025 Honda Accord or CR-V, a 4.9% APR on a 2025 Civic, and a 3.9% APR on a 2025 HR-V.
Brought to you by your local Carolina Honda dealers. Contact your local Carolina Honda dealer today.
See dealer for financing details. Exclude Civic Si and Type R. Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Welcome to the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club Aromatherapy Room. Our first scent is the essence of this month's scratch-offs.
I'm getting notes of anticipation mingled with, cold hard cash.
Anyone else?
Oh, is that tilapia?
Sorry, that's my lunch.
New Diamond 10X and Lotteria are here. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.99 to 4.23. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Pinch me, because Lobster's back at Carolina Ale House. This fan favorite's only available through the end of the year, so head for your closest Carolina Ale House and load up on lobster. Enjoy your favorites or try something new like lobster seafood scampi, surf and turf, grouper fingers, and more. And as long as you're treating yourself, go all out with dessert too. Top off your lobster meal with a nice warm brookie with ice cream on top. Visit any Carolina Ale House in the Triangle and treat yourself. #AleYeah.
This is Adam Gold.
When the U.S. Space Force plays Air Force in the Military Bowl, then I will recognize the
It'll be out of this world.
The anthem.
Sorry, I had to.
The Adam Gold Show.
Joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, Dennis Hawk sitting in for AG this afternoon. Mike Kaye, Charlotte Observer. You can check out all of his awesome work at the Charlotte Observer as well as online. Also follow him on X at Mike_E_K, Kaye. Mike, you had your mailbag column earlier this week, and there are a lot of questions recently about Ejiro Evero, the defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. This I want to dive into right now. Does it feel like this offseason there's going to be a change in terms of the defense? Because the defensive numbers haven't been there in terms of rush defense and overall just generating turnovers. Does it feel like the defense is going to have a new look this coming in 2025?
Well, I think you can't go into next offseason with a completely, run it back defensive staff. I don't think that that's doable. That said, Evero is a very loyal guy based on my read. He is extremely well respected in the building, and I think if somebody were to turn to him and say, hey, look, you need to switch up some of your assistants, do whatever, I could see him bulking at that situation. I think, look, you look at the last couple of years, he's coached opposite an offense that's averaged 13.6 points per game and 13.9 points per game and 17.6 points per game. That's not a recipe for success if you're a defensive coordinator. Yes, it's very cool to win games, 13-10 or 13-9 or 12-9 or those low defensive slugfests. But when it's every week, you're putting yourself behind the eight ball. And the problem is his run defense couldn't stop anything. It just seems like every week we're talking about a player or a team rushing for a season high. The only reason why Saquon Barkley didn't run for 200 yards against this team is Nick Sirianni overthought his offense, and Saquon Barkley touched the ball like 9 times. in the first half a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, I could see there being changes either to the staff or to the scheme, because as of right now, it's just not working from a run defense standpoint. Oh, and by the way, the pass defense, while ranked in the top 12, is also not getting passed on a lot because, teams are just beating them, and you don't have to throw as much when you're not playing from behind. That said, they're giving up a ton of passing touchdowns this season.
That they are. They're giving up a lot of pass touchdowns, and part of that also ties in with the pass rush. And I know DJ Wana missed a chunk of time earlier this season, coming off a quad injury, also dealing with a blood clotting issue as well. I know this team is without their best player in Derek Brown, and I also know that Shaq Thompson got hurt early in the year as well. But I know this past Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys, you have basically 9 of your 11 intended starters playing in that game, and they still rushed for over 200 yards. Is it a bad sign that, yes, you're without your best player in Derek Brown, that were you too dependent on that one guy being there, or is this just simply the talent isn't there overall for this defense?
Well, I think going into training camp, we kind of knew that they had a paper-thin defense. I mean, they kept talking about how the waiver wire was going to, help them improve depth. Whenever somebody talks about that, it's them openly admitting they do not have depth, and specifically on defense. And I think, look, losing Brian Burns, losing Frankie Luvu was not a great situation for Evero. That said, they brought in a bunch of guys who knew his system, and all of them, to an extent, have faltered. While Josie Jewell's put up really nice numbers, I'd say that he is also not playing particularly well against the run, which is kind of what he was known for. A'Shawn Robinson has played really well, but yeah, like you said, it's a tough beat because there's no reason why a 4-technique defensive end should be the difference between, being a somewhat confident or a somewhat confident defense and, well, the worst run defense I've ever covered.
Yeah, it definitely ranks up there with one of the worst run defenses, especially in the entire league. Well, it is the worst rush defense in the entire league. Mike Kaye, Charlotte Observer, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for AG. I look at the offseason, you mentioned going into the year, and you look at some of the contracts and the guys that were brought in. Jordan Fuller on a 1-year deal. You also look at A'Shawn Robinson, Josie Jewell, just 3-year deals. Contracts that you can get out from after this year. It seems like Carolina set themselves up for, hey, if Evero is not here after 2024, whether he gets a head coaching job or we make a decision, it seems like this team is set to be out and ready to retool this defense this offseason if they choose so.
Yeah, I think, look, you saw the offense get basically a facelift this year. I think there will be a similar action on defense this year. I think they will go very heavy on defense in the draft. I think they will go pretty heavy on defense in free agency, whether Evero's here or not. And I think that was always kind of the plan. I mean, I think if you watch what they were doing during the off season, it was very clear on defense they had a specific type, guys who either had a background with Evero or had a background with the front office or played in similar schemes. And, hey, they were going to roll the dice on a bunch of these guys. And so I think when you look at the totality of what the defense is, it was very clear that they were doubling down on Bryce this year to figure out what he was. And so they wanted to give him better protection. They spent a ton of money on the offensive line. And so I think they're at a point now where they need to do the same for defense. And while the cap might seem like a rosier picture, they've got a lot of void years and reworked contracts that are going to have to be either renegotiated, reworked, what have you. They need to figure out what they're going to do with Taylor Moton. They've got to figure out what they're going to do with J.C. Horn. They've got to bring some salary cap numbers down, and it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Final question here from Mike Kaye, Charlotte Observer. You mentioned J.C. Horn and a couple other guys as well. It's a big offseason in terms of J.C., and I think it's also a big offseason for Ike Ekwonu as well, because the organization has to decide on Ike Ekwonu. Hey, are we picking up a fifth-year option on this guy, or are we not going to? I think it's a big decision that's going to be made. And also, do you offer a contract extension for J.C. Horn, who's, give him credit. He's been healthy this entire season. You have to give that guy a lot of credit. What do you see with those two guys, J.C. and Ike Ekwonu, happening this offseason for these two young guys that were high draft picks for this franchise?
Well, specifically at left tackle, taking the fifth-year option is smart. One, it gives you leverage against the contract negotiation. But two, left tackles get paid a lot of money. And for the most part, getting that guy taken care of initially makes a lot of sense. I know he had a rough game against Dallas. He gave up 2 sacks, but he's only given up 5 sacks on the entire year. And for the most part, he's only given up 5 QB hits. So I actually think he's improved mightily under Joe Gilbert. I think the offensive line coaching trio has done a really nice job with the group overall. I mean, he's still only in his, in his third year, and I think you've seen marginal improvement. He still has his quirks with penalties, but he's probably a top 3 run blocker at the position in the league, and that's what he was always known for. He was always going to be a work in progress as a pass blocker. I think he's played relatively well. I think with J.C. Horn, the thing is, as you mentioned, having a durable year was really big for him. He had a groin injury coming into the Dallas game, still played. I think that speaks to his line. He's been among the top guys, if not leading the league in run stops at the cornerback position. We've seen him add blitzing to his repertoire. He's got 2 sacks. I think he's a guy who still has a ton of upside. He's got great length at the position. He's scheme versatile. There's so much to like about J.C. Horn. Look, I know that there have been moments where it's been confusing because Evero doesn't have him shadow the top wide receiver. There's an argument to be made that that's a mistake. He does play off quite a bit, which I think really is more of a favor of the scheme than his technique. And look, I think he is a guy that when healthy is a top 10 cornerback. It's just a matter of will he be constantly healthy. And the thing is he's going to have a big roster contract number in that 5th-year option. I believe they should get ahead of that option, similar to what they did with Derek Brown. Now it's time for JC to get his.
Mike Kaye, Charlotte Observer. Give him a follow there. Acknowledge his work on the Charlotte Observer. Mike, thanks for your time. Really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Dennis.
Again, big thanks to Mike Kaye, Charlotte Observer. Seriously, follow his work. He does a tremendous job, does Mike Kaye. And there are a lot of questions about the defense. And honestly, for me, I don't like the defensive scheme that the Carolina Panthers run, personally. I do not like it at all. We have seen in recent games, go to the Tampa Bay Bucks game. I was there. Mike Evans, big wide receiver, right? 6'4", 6'5". Obviously one of that dude, right? For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensively. They line him up in the slot because you know you're going to get a favorable matchup because you don't have to worry about J.C. Horn covering you or even Mike Jackson for that part. Heck, go to this past Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. What did they do with CeeDee Lamb offensively? They made sure that he was in the slot a lot. It's funny. Scores a touchdown. He's lined up in the slot. You know who he gets matched up with? Jordan Fuller, a safety. If I'm Dallas and I see a safety guarding CeeDee Lamb, I've already won. I've already won the play. I remember I was sitting with Chris Lee, my co-host of Panthers Playbook. New episode dropped yesterday. When we were sitting in the press box at the game at Bank of America when they were playing Tampa Bay, and they being the Bucks kept putting Mike Evans in the slot, and he was just getting catch after catch after catch. And I was like, well, they got by scheme. They decided, hey, let's put Shaw Smith-Wade right there on the inside against him because the scheme or a safety guarding Mike Evans if they were in man-to-man coverage. And I said, if I'm Tampa Bay, I'm putting him in the slot the rest of this game. I'm getting a favorable matchup every single time. That's the thing that's frustrating is that based off this scheme, you can get your number one guy offensively matched up against either a safety or a linebacker, whatever it is. And that J.C. Horn doesn't follow the top guy if it's man-to-man coverage. That's something I don't get. Something I don't get. I don't like the scheme. I think Evero's too married to the scheme. And then when there were so many injuries, didn't adjust things to try and fit the personnel that you had to either generate more pressure or whatever it might be. It's like, the scheme's the scheme. I'm married to it. Next man up. Don't like the scheme at all. You can have a good 3-4 defense. You can. Pittsburgh's been running a 3-4 defense for like 900 years. Because, one, they have the interior defensive lineman overall to do it. But second of all, you actually have true outside linebackers like Nick Herbig, Alex Highsmith. Those guys are built to drop into coverage as well as set the edge. Heck, even TJ Watt at some points will drop into coverage. And you also have the middle linebackers to cover over the middle of the field as well. But again, too married to the scheme, didn't adjust around personnel. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria, it's that time of year. It's holiday time. The 12 days of Tepper. On the other side, in 4 minutes, I will be performing the 12 days of Tepper on the Adam Gold Show. Next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Every Friday night, FanDuel is giving all customers a bigger payout on select NBA first bets. First is in quotation marks there. First bets lets you get in on the action from the opening tip, so you can bet on stuff like who's going to score the first basket, what type of basket will it be, what team will be the first to 15 points, and so much more. And the best thing is, you don't have to stick around for the end of the game. You could be done in like 10 minutes and then go to the club. I don't know if you're going to the club. I don't go to the club. Look for Friday First in the FanDuel app to find your profit boost. FanDuel.com/AGS. Claim your Friday First profit boost now. FanDuel.com/AGS. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543. Or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
It's that time of year. We can't wait to visit our loved ones. Don't let COVID-19 and the flu stop you. So make sure you don't have to cancel on those you love the most by getting your flu and COVID vaccines. Both flu and COVID vaccines have been updated to fight against the new virus strains that will continue to spread this fall and winter. Don't wait. Get your updated shots today.
Get protected this season with updated COVID-19 and flu shots. Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
Healthcare.gov has plans for health because you have plans for life. All plans cover doctor visits and emergency care to keep you and your family running strong. All plans cover hospital stays and prescriptions so you can have peace of mind. Visit healthcare.gov to explore health plans from the brands you know. 4 out of 5 customers can find a health plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Final deadline to enroll is January 15th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
You wouldn't ask your mechanic to help stage your property for an open house. As NC Realtors, we're experts who make buying or selling property easier for you. Using the latest technology and armed with local insights, our Realtors help you find properties you would want to call home. We also know which details make your property more attractive to other buyers. From start to finish, our Realtors know. Find out more at ncrealtorsknow.com.
This is Adam Gold.
What, a minute 53 into the game? Heat of the moment?
Right.
What kind of heat of the moment is that? We haven't even gotten to simmer yet.
I know. Did someone flip him off in the parking lot? Like, what are we
Seriously.
The Adam Gold Show.
Well, it's good to know someone's been good this year. Unfortunately, the Panthers have not. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold today. Victoria producing the show as always. Victoria, I think it's becoming a holiday tradition.
Yeah.
This time of year, I'm a big fan of traditions.
Yeah, I
holidays,
like
sports. I love tradition. I really think it's important that we continue to carry on traditions. And it's becoming a tradition at this time of year, this late in the football season, that I bring to you the masses of Carolina Panthers fans. Victoria, it's time for the 12 Days of Tepper. On the first day of Tepper, the owner took from me our franchise's best QB. On the second day of Tepper, the owner took from me 2 offensive studs and our franchise's best QB. On the third day of Tepper, the owner took from me 3 GMs, 2 offensive studs, and our franchise's best QB. On the fourth day of Tepper, the owner took from me 4 head coaches, 3 GMs, 2 offensive studs, and our franchise's best QB. On the 5th day of Tepper, the owner took from me Matt Rule's plan. 4 head coaches, 3 GMs, 2 offensive studs, and our franchise's best QB. On the 6th day of Tepper, the owner took from me 6 wins with Wilkes, Matt Rule's plan. 4 head coaches, 3 GMs, 2 offensive studs, and our franchise's best QB. On the 7th day of Tepper, the owner took from me 7 years of losing, 6 wins with Wilkes, Matt Rule's plan. 4 head coaches, 3 GMs, 2 offensive studs, and the franchise's best QB. On the 8th day of Tepper, the owner took from me 8 games of Deontay, 7 years of losing, 6 wins with Wilkes, Matt Rule's plan. 4 head coaches, 3 GMs, 2 offensive studs, and our franchise's best QB. On the 9th day of Tepper, the owner took from me 9 Andy touchdowns, 8 games of Deontay, 7 years of losing, 6 wins with Wilkes, Matt Rule's plan. 4 head coaches, 3 GMs, 2 offensive studs, and the franchise's best QB. On the 10th day of Tepper, the owner took from me 10 QB started, 9 Andy touchdowns, 8 games of Deontay, 7 years of losing, 6 wins with Wilkes, Matt Rule's plan. 4 head coaches, 3 GMs, 2 offensive studs, and the franchise's best QB. On the 11th day of Tepper, Tepper, the owner, took from me. 11 draft picks wasted, 10 QB started, 9 Andy touchdowns, 8 games of Deontay, 7 years of losing, 6 wins with Wilkes. Matt Rule's plan. 4 head coaches, 3 GMs, 2 offensive studs, and the franchise's best QB. Join me, folks, on the 12th day of Tepper, the owner took from me. Terrace Marshall Jr., 11 draft picks wasted, 10 QB started, 9 Andy touchdowns, 8 games of Deontay, 7 years of losing, 6 wins with Wilkes. Matt Rule's plan. 4 head coaches, 3 GMs, 2 offensive studs, and the franchise's best QB.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I can feel the applause. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. Here's some water.
You know, it hurts to sing that song.
Yeah.
Not because, I can't, I mean, anyone can sing. It's all about, can you sing well, which clearly I can, obviously.
Of course, right?
All this is true.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem.
The 11 draft picks wasted. The Panthers, since David Tepper has arrived, have used 11 draft picks, whether they've traded or picked to find a quarterback. They've used 11 draft picks and DJ Moore to figure out who their franchise quarterback is.
He just gives us so much to work with.
I mean, he really does.
It's sad.
And 10 QBs have started since
Like
David
10.
Tepper. Literally 10.
Double digits.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, Will Greer started games. Taylor Heineke. Remember Kyle Allen?
Yep.
PJ Walker's in there.
These are real.
Teddy Bridgewater, anybody? Cam came back twice.
Yes, he did.
That's the thing. Oh, and then there's Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Andy Dalton, Bryce Young. All of them.
Yeah, those quarterbacks that are excelling with other teams. Yeah.
And 8 games of Deontay. I know he technically only played in 7. He missed the 8th game with an oblique injury earlier this year. So we had him for 8. Fact check me here, folks. The 2 offensive studs being DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And we've had, 4 full-time head coaches. They didn't count the interims because you had Rivera, you had Rule, you had Reich, now you have Canales. Yeah, I didn't throw in there Perry Fuel, or when I mentioned the 6 wins by Steve Wilkes, and also Scott Tabor and all that, and our franchise's best QB, which is good old Cam.
I know, miss you, buddy.
It's crazy to think the 6 wins with Wilkes. He did that in less than 1 season, obviously, when he took over when Matt Rule got fired back in 2022. 6 wins with him.
Half a season.
Since then, 5. Steve Wilkes has more wins in less than 1 season that we've had in 2.
In half a season than we've had in 2 full ones, basically.
Basically, yeah, because he took over, I think, after week 5. So he went 6-6. Remember,
right.
He was in 12 games. Anyway, that's where we are. The 12 days of Tepper. Don't worry, it will be sung for years to come. This is the Adam Gold Show. I know people are, joining. People usually listen in at this time for one-timers, Victoria. Do not worry, folks. Do not fret. We will have one-timers coming up later on in the afternoon. Victoria puts work in for one-timers. I'm not going to deny that. But I wanted to make sure you all got to hear the 12 days of Tepper. I think on the first day of Tepper, the owner took from me maybe our dignity. Speaking of the Panthers, coming up, how can they get back on at least somewhat of a right track?
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel. They are America's #1 sportsbook. Here's a reason why. Every Friday night, checking the watch. Yes, it is Friday. FanDuel is giving all customers a bigger payout on select NBA first bets. Look, you're busy. You're going out. You might be going to the club. So, FanDuel lets you go do your thing and get in on the action earlier. You don't even have to wait around for the end of the quarter. You can bet on things like first basket, which team will be the first to 15 points, and so much more. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. Look for Friday First in the FanDuel app today to find your Friday First profit boost. Do it now. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
During the Ram Wrap-Up the Year sales event, take advantage of huge deals on a wide selection of built-to-serve Ram trucks. And right now, finance and get $8,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Go to ram.com and hurry to your local Ram dealer for $8,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Hurry to the Ram Wrap-Up the Year sales event today. Financing for well-qualified buyers through Stellantis Financial. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 1/2/25.
The Pack family knows Sammy's Tap and Grill is your one-stop shop for brews and bites, serving up good times for almost 25 years. Sammy's has over 40 beers on tap, so you're guaranteed to find your perfect pint. And house-made food that's touchdown-worthy. For the game, Sammy's got you covered with over 60 TVs. Plus, you can bring your own mascot. Sammy's is pet-friendly. Come find your people at Sammy's Tap and Grill on Avon Ferry near campus. Great beer, delicious food, TVs galore, furry friends welcome. Visit sammystapgrill.com for daily specials and beer list.
Hi, I'm Specialist Kaylee Guzman from Allied Forces South Battalion in Naples, Italy. I just want to give a shout out to all my friends and family in Charlotte, North Carolina. Te quiero mucho, and I'll see you soon. Mwah.
Hello, my name is Staff Sergeant Victoria Thompson. I'm stationed here in Allied Forces South Battalion in Naples, Italy. I want to give a shout out to all my family back home, sisters and parents, and wish them all a very Merry Christmas.
Edwards Inc., standing tall and proudly saluting all who have served and those who continue to serve this holiday season.
Did you know that Bailey's Fine Jewelry has something for everybody and every budget? Sure, we're known for luxury designers, fine diamonds, and watches, but we also have a huge selection of jewelry and gifts under $500. We're celebrating making holiday gifting easy since 1948. You can shop online at baileybox.com, or we invite you to visit one of our locations in Raleigh, Cary, Rocky Mount, and Greenville. To see why, every woman wants a Bailey box under the tree.
Hi, it's Jonathan Cotton, and people often ask me, what is the Good Feet store? A shoe store? I respond, we are an art support store. Haven't you spent enough time trying different shoes and all the disposable products that are supposed to make your feet feel better? Go to goodfeet.com to make your appointment today.
Oh no, my phone.
Hear that? It's the sound of a skater dropping her phone and smashing it on the ice. Yep, it's definitely broken. But at Verizon, we got you. That's right, now's your last chance to trade in any phone, any condition from one of our top brands and get a new Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus on Unlimited Ultimate and Watch 7 and Tab S9 FE 5G. That's up to $1,900 in value. So you'll save big on 3 great gifts. Only at Verizon. Service plan required for watch and tablet. Up to $1,900 value based on phone, watch, and tablet. Trade in and additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I do think both Duke and UNC are kind of going through something this season now. It'd be nice if one of those teams had someone that could just dump the ball into.
Right.
And you could just get the ball in a position where, and Duke has this to an extent with Cooper. You know, I mean, he's drawn a lot of fouls. He can score in the post too, but you know, he can't just overwhelm someone. He's not Ben Caro or Baycott. That said, I don't think the offense is necessarily the problem for UNC. They're still playing with good pace. They're still a top 25 offense, and they're going to make more threes as the season goes along.
Those are the words of Brian Geisinger. Covers a ton of college basketball. You want to talk about someone who just knows their basketball, knows their stuff. Brian Geisinger really does. He's got a tremendous mind for the game.
I know, he's like an encyclopedia of basketball.
He really is.
Current basketball. Well,
encyclopedia, Wikipedia, all the things.
Mm-hmm.
All the pedias.
All the pedias. Brianpedia.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria producing the show as always. We are actually going to talk college basketball coming up here in about 25 minutes or so. Because for the most part, the non-conference schedule is wrapping up for college basketball. I know Wake Forest is actually on the road playing Clemson tomorrow, which they kind of got to get a road win. Wake Forest, you kind of just need one. Because last year you couldn't win on the road, and you haven't won away from the Triad so far yet this year. We're going to get into that here in, again, about 25 minutes. But some big matchups, some big games coming up this weekend. In about 10 minutes, we'll have Minute Takes. But until then, Victoria, time for Take 2. First things first, let's go to tonight. Let's go to tonight. On the ice, Carolina Hurricanes, they're on the road taking on the Washington Capitals. By the way, coming up in about an hour and a half, Katie Florio, who's part of the pregame, postgame on the Washington Capitals radio network, is going to be joining the show. Just talk a little bit of hockey with us. But coming up tonight, again, Washington Capitals, they host your Carolina Hurricanes, folks. And this is something that I want to see the Carolina Hurricanes taking on a good team. Because believe it or not, Washington Capitals, top team of the Metropolitan Divisions. Them, it's New Jersey, and it's the Carolina Hurricanes. 3 teams fighting for that top spot in the division. These games count even more. Because you win this one in regulation, that's 2 points for you. That's obviously a goose egg for Washington. So they call these a quote-unquote 4-point games. Quote-unquote 4-point games. And these ones matter. People are like, well, it's still early. It's still the first half of the season. Last time I checked, 2 points in this game count the same as 2 points in game number 82. They just do. So get them where you can, especially against teams in your division. That's where this game lies for me. The last 12 games for the Carolina Hurricanes, they're 6-5-1. 6 wins, 5 losses in regulation, and a shootout loss as well. 6-5-1. That's where they currently stand their last 12. But of late, if you actually shrink it down even more recent than that, look at the last 6 games. 4-2. Victoria, I'll take 4-2 over 6 games anytime. I'll take them in the regular season. I'll take 4-2 in 6 games in the postseason as well. I'll take 4-2. No other team in the NFL or in the NHL would deny that. So who are you? Carolina Hurricanes. Who are you as a team? You start off this year hot, white hot. One of the best teams, if not the best team in the NHL, white hot. Martin Necas leading the league in points, just lighting things up. All the new pieces, Jack Roslovic, Eric Robinson, William Carrier, Shane Gostisbehere, Sean Walker, all the new guys all came in, all fitting in well. Even the rookie Jackson Blake was making plays. Guys, rookie Jackson Blake was scoring power play goals late in third periods against the New York Rangers that ended up being game winners. It's like, hey, all right, we got this thing put together. But again, the last 12 games, 6-5-1. They've flipped things around a little bit. They've won a couple in a row. I know they lost a week ago against the Ottawa Senators. They lost that. They got shut out. I didn't think they played terrible in that game. But they still got shut out 3-0. But now you've won back-to-back games. We've had a combined total of 8-1 in terms of goals scored. Now, a lot of that, goaltending, especially against the New York Islanders this past Tuesday. Pyotr Kochetkov was the difference. But you're not going to be able to play Pyotr Kochetkov every single game. You just physically can't. You just can't play him every game. You're going to have to rely on Dustin Tokarski, and the guys in front also have to elevate their play as well. I'm still waiting. It's crazy to think, Victoria. Sebastian Aho is averaging more than a point per game. More than a point per game, Sebastian Aho is on the season. And it still feels like there's another level for him to get to. Still feels like there's another level for him to get to. And if you look at the last 5 games, it's 2 goals and 3 assists over the last 5 games. +2 rating. 2 goals, 3 assists. Against the New York Islanders, he had a goal and an assist. Against Columbus, he had a shorthanded goal in that game as well. But you still feel like there's another level for him to get to. But if you look overall in the season, 33 points in 31 games, 9 goals, 24 assists. You hope that the 5-on-5 goals for him, for Andrei Svechnikov, those start to take off. Because if those guys start scoring at 5-on-5, if Necas continues to stay strong, Shane Gostisbehere on the blue line continues to do what he's been doing, and then Seth Jarvis elevates his game a little bit too. I mean, we've seen these guys play at that high level. Let's see them continue to ramp up. Again, they've won 2 straight. It's 4 of the last 6 that they've won. Let's see them get back to that ramp up. for the next month or so before the Four Nations Cups hit in February. But also this weekend, going to the Gridiron, Victoria, down in Charlotte. For all those of you able to watch this Sunday, the Carolina Panthers taking on the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are 7-7.
Mm-hmm.
But you can at least look at their team, Victoria. You can say, watch out for that dude. Like, hey, Budda Baker on defense, watch out for that dude. Marvin Harrison Jr., watch out for that dude. We already know who Kyler Murray is, their quarterback. Yeah, he's small in stature in terms of his height, but he's got a little bit of a thicker build. Not afraid to run it. Heck of an athlete. Got to watch out for that dude. Who's that dude for the Carolina Panthers? This is a serious question I ask, because you can look at bad football teams in the NFL and still point out and say, yeah, there might be a bad team, but you got to watch out for that dude. I mean, look at the New York Giants, a team that the Carolina Panthers have beat this season. You can sit there and say, well, Malik Neighbors, watch out for that dude. Defensively, hey, Dexter Lawrence, watch out for that dude. Heck, I'll even throw, Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns on the edge, but at least you know Dexter Lawrence from the interior. Ooh, watch out for that guy. You beat the Las Vegas Raiders, right? Earlier this season. Blew them out, week 3. You can still look at the Raiders and go, hey, Brock Bowers, watch out for that dude. And even before that, before they traded Devontae Adams, watch out for that guy. New Orleans Saints, another team that you beat. At least you can look at them and say, Alvin Kamara, watch out for that dude. When you look at the Panthers roster, Victoria, who do you say is like, hey, watch out for that dude? I can't find it. Maybe you think one off the top of your head real fast. Maybe it's J.C. Horn. Watch out for that dude. But I don't know. I don't think Evero's scheme as a defensive coordinator allows J.C. Horn to really maximize what his talents are.
Yeah, no.
It's like, I mean, maybe it was Derek Brown going into the season, but obviously he's hurt right now. But even still, he's a great run stopper. But he doesn't move the interior of the offensive line and generates pressures like a Dexter Lawrence or Christian Wilkins or Chris Jones, one of these guys.
Last guy we had was Burns.
Yeah, I mean, was Burns, but even he was still kind of like a fringe guy. Like, hey, watch out for that dude. Panthers don't have that.
Can't find him.
You can't. Now, they used to have him. Hey, Christian McCaffrey, hey, watch out for that dude. DJ Moore, watch out for that dude. They don't have that dude. But you can point and say, watch out for that guy. They don't have that. Now, maybe there's a guy that develops into being that. Maybe in 2 years, Xavier Legette becomes that guy. Hey, watch out for that dude. Heck, you played a terrible Cowboys team this past Sunday. A bad one. A one that was just absolutely reeling. Riddled with injuries. You can still look and say, hey, CeeDee Lamb, watch out for that dude. Micah Parsons, watch out for that dude. And if sure enough, who are the two dudes that cooked you on Sunday? I know the other guys made contributions, but you understand my point. This offseason, I know there's still this Sunday and it's still 2 more weeks for the Panthers, but man, they got to find who out that dude is going to be. Whether you find him in the draft, whether you acquire him in some way, shape, or form, or maybe there's someone on your roster currently that can develop into being that guy. I was hoping Jonathan Brooks would be that, because you could see in the flashes of the moments that he got to play this season, the explosiveness, the game-breaking ability, to know, like, hey, when he gets the ball, he might pop off 45 yards here. Take it to the house. Hey, watch out for that dude. I was hoping to be Jonathan Brooks. But you can't count on that. He just retore his ACL and his knee again. Roughly around the same time he tore it last year. And if you're going off the same timeline for recovery, you're looking at maybe the last 4 or 5 games of the year. Maybe for Jonathan Brooks next year. If not, a season lost. Another season lost. Who's that dude for the Panthers? Even defensively. I mean, maybe Trevin Wallace becomes that guy. I don't know. Time will tell. But man, that's something that the Carolina Panthers lack. They have to play near perfect to be competitive in games. You have to play near perfect to be competitive in games. That's where this franchise is right now. It stinks. They have a lot of good pieces, I think, Victoria. I think there's some good building blocks and pieces of that puzzle for the future going forward. But you still need guys that are going to separate.
Yeah, just not there yet.
Just not there yet. To get a top 5, top 6 pick, you better find that dude. Better find that dude. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria producing the show, as always. Coming up, it's a massive weekend for football. We have 4 college football playoff games, a couple massive NFL games coming up tomorrow as well. We bring back Middick Takes coming up.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I'm helping you celebrate the 5 days of Canesmas all week long on 99.9 The Fan. It's presented by Hardee's. Let's celebrate our hometown hockey team. Call 919-860-5326. Be the captain. Caller 11. You'll score a $50 gift card from Hardee's. 919-860-5326. Listen to The Drive this afternoon for more chances to celebrate Canesmas with us. Thanks to Hardee's. Unwrap the holiday goodness of our handcrafted favorites. Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends down at Travers LASIK. Dr. Lori Travers is the best in the world at doing this. It's not necessarily official. There's no ranking. I think she's the best in the world. She took me from 2250 to 20/20 vision. Took about 10 minutes. Totally painless. I was back to work the next day. Maybe that's not a selling point for you, but it was for me because I had stuff to do. And now I have 20/20 vision when I wake up in the morning. I don't have to put contacts in. I don't have to find glasses. None of that stuff. I save money now in the long run, and I just wake up and go. It has saved me a ton of time. 919-510-6830, TraversLASIK.com. Consultation is free. 24 months, zero interest financing is also available. We're making it as easy for you as possible, and it's great. You'll thank me later. Merry Christmas, right? Travers LASIK, TraversLASIK.com, 919-510-6830. Travers LASIK, see what you've been missing.
Introducing a product that redefines living well.
Luxury.
Designed to satisfy your wildest desires.
Extravagance.
Overflowing with suspense, dripping with wealth.
Fortune.
The $8 million moneymaker from the North Carolina Education Lottery. With prices that start at $100 and go up to $8 million. Every win's a big win.
Whisper.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.14. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. At Diamonds Direct, we have hundreds of styles that are ready to be wrapped and put under the tree. No need to wait for shipping. For some fabulous ideas before you head to the store, see the online seasonal gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. We've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
99.9 The Fan, Carolina Ale House, and me, Victoria Votenecker, want to get you to a Canes game. Join me this Friday night at the Carolina Ale House in Briar Creek from 7 to 9. Sign up for your shot to grab a pair of tickets to the January 5th Canes-Penguins game. I guarantee 30 people will be able to get into the game on us once the night is done. While you're there, grab a drink. They have specials every day of the week. To win, you got to come hang out with me. So set the reminder. Carolina Ale House at Briar Creek Friday night with me and 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
This is Adam Gold.
Home runs are homers, not dingers.
not jacks, not bombs. Can I use tater?
No. Can we say going yard?
Oh, yes.
Right?
If we can't exaggerate, if we can't use colorful, flowery metaphors and descriptions, why are we here?
The Adam Gold Show.
Little Mariah Carey?
Oh, yeah. I'm throwing out the good ones. I can't wait for Monday because some of my faves will be on Monday.
Yeah?
But today's going to have some of my faves. It's funny. This one is not the last time you'll hear All I Want for Christmas, but not from Mariah Carey. It's a tease. I know.
Go on.
In the next hour, I'm going to have another one.
Is it the 12 Days of Tepper?
That is, yeah. That is one of my favorite. Oh, it's such a throwback, but it's good. It's hilarious, and it's fantastic.
All right. This is the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for AG. Victoria producing the show today. This is a fun weekend of football coming up, by the way. Especially tonight, you have game number 1 of the college football playoff. First time expanding into 12 teams. But I love the fact that we are actually going to see these games played on actual home games, actual campuses. Not, hey, it's the playoff being played in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl or whatever it might be. Here's down in the Sugar Bowl. Is that Allstate? Whatever. But nonetheless, games being played on actual campuses. And it starts tonight, Indiana at Notre Dame. And then tomorrow is just a heater of a day. A heater of a day if you're a football fan. This is literally, you could park on the couch from noon to midnight and just watch awesome games that have major stakes to them and high-quality matchups. You cannot ask for more if you are a football fan. So, folks, if you got stuff to do, get it done. Get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, you're going to be playing catch-up.
Mm-hmm. Don't want to miss out.
You don't want to miss out.
Nope.
But you know what? Because there's so many games, we got to give our thoughts on each of them. So, Victoria, time to dive into some minute takes. 60 seconds on the clock. We're going to go right from one game to the next. Victoria, we're going to give our 60 seconds thoughts on each of these matchups. Let's get it started. Indiana at Notre Dame. Who is really the fraud? That's what I want to know. Who is really the fraud? Both these teams just one loss on the season. Indiana, the lone game they played against a really good team, they got blown out by Ohio State. Are you really that good, or are you just the benefit of a weak schedule? Hey, guess what? I will say this. Your Big Ten schedule, not your fault. The Big Ten scheduled that for you. I'm not going to hold that against you. But hey, are you really that good? Chance to prove yourself. Also, Notre Dame, you had the Week 1 win against Texas A&M. Proved to be a pretty good win over Texas A&M. But again, Week 1, they just got a new coach, and had Mike Elko, they being Texas A&M, but also Riley Leonard's first game in Notre Dame. We'll see. You lost to Northern Illinois. Are you really that good? So yeah, who's actually less fraudulent? That's what this game is for me. Who's less of a fraud? And also, who's the winner of the Hoosier State? We'll find that out tonight. SMU at Penn State. Let's go Stangs. All in on the Stangs. It is them versus the world. Let's go right into it. SMU. SMU. Let's go Stangs. They're on the road to Happy Valley up there in north central Pennsylvania. State College. Taking on a team that, by all accounts, is pretty good. But last time I checked, James Franklin coached teams can't win big games. They can't beat Ohio State. They backdoored their way into the Big Ten championship game because Ohio State can't beat Michigan. But also Penn State can't beat Michigan really either. So who are you? Are you actually good, or are you just another guy? I don't want to say just another guy, but hey, another pretty good team that can't really run with the big boys. SMU, this is your chance to prove yourself. A lot of people out there saying you do not belong. But yet you're the ACC regular season champion. Go up there and prove that you are part of the big boys. Clemson at Texas. A lot of
orange.
Victoria. So much orange, Victoria. The burnt orange versus the bright orange with
all
little,
the orange.
Tad of purple in there.
Right?
Texas, to me, reeling a little bit. Quinn Ewers struggled, especially the last 3 quarters of that game against Georgia. I thought they started off actually kind of strong, but the last 3 quarters of that game struggled against Georgia. Had every opportunity to still win that game and could not pull it out. A lot of people clamoring, hey, let's see Arch Manning. I want Arch Manning in there. Maybe this offense will actually play better with Arch Manning out there. I think if Clemson, little old Clemson and Dabo, little old Clemson from the ACC, if they can go out there and jump on Texas early, you're going to have a lot of people on the Texas sideline questioning things. Hey, take Quinn Ewers out, put in Arch Manning, and you have a lot of people pretty frantic over on the Longhorn sideline. Give me Clemson in this one. I know Clemson is a 12-point underdog, but man, Clemson's give me Clemson in this one. Another fun matchup, Tennessee at Ohio State. This is the late kickoff. Man, so speaking of orange, a lot of that Tennessee Volunteer orange up there in the horseshoe taking on Ohio State. I love this matchup for a multitude of reasons. You have guys, I think, on both sides of this game that are top-end NFL talent. Pierce, the edge rusher, who's a Charlotte native, by the way, for Tennessee. I mean, Ohio State, just look down their roster, there's probably like 10 NFL guys on there right now. But the question is, for Ohio State, you didn't pull off that win against Michigan. You haven't played since. Is that still stewing in your mind? Also, the questions surrounding Ryan Day. Is he coaching for his job? Should we get rid of Ryan Day? That circling around your team is the last thing you need going into a college football playoff. Does Ohio State get upset by Tennessee in this one? Does Nico Iamaleava, the quarterback for Tennessee, does he have enough playmaking in him? He kind of slowed down the last half of the season. Give me Ohio State, though, to win this one, in a close one. In the NFL this Saturday, tomorrow as well, we have Texans at the Chiefs, Victoria. Texans at Chiefs.
Woo!
Looks like Patrick Mahomes with the ankle sprain is going to play. But a question with that weak offensive line, remember, the Carolina Panthers sacked Patrick Mahomes 5 times when they played. Five. The Panthers sacked Mahomes 5 times. It's a pretty weak offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs, and his mobility for Patrick Mahomes is relatively underrated. Kansas City, I think, needs to win this one because they're trying to keep ahead of the Buffalo Bills in terms of that top spot in the AFC. They're trying to get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They have a loss against the Buffalo Bills, so if Buffalo is able to beat New England this weekend, and if Kansas City slips up, it just narrows that gap even tighter. So, yeah, it's a must-win for Kansas City. Houston Texans, though, I'm still trying to figure out who they are. I don't know. Their offense this season is struggling. Their defense playing this year, but they're struggling offensively. Also on Sunday, Steelers-Ravens. This game is probably going to have about a combined total of 317 yards of offense.
Exactly.
It's going to be ugly.
Score's going to be 50-45.
No. This game is going to be like 15-14 because that's what these games are. The last game was 18-16. If I remember correctly, it was Pittsburgh Steelers won that game. They can't afford to just keep kicking field goals with Russell Wilson at QB. They actually have to find the end zone. The last 9 games between these two teams decided by 7 points or less. And believe it or not, Pittsburgh has won the last 4 regular season games. Now, interestingly enough, Lamar Jackson, the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, the first time actually playing the Pittsburgh Steelers at home because he's either been hurt or he's been resting because they're about to go into the playoffs. Interesting little matchup here today. Steelers are 6.5-point underdogs. No George Pickens for the Pittsburgh Steelers at wideout. To me, completely changes that offense. They don't have that downfield threat that Russell Wilson can just throw the ball to. And TJ Watt's a little bit of a nagging injury. Hate saying it, but I think Baltimore wins this one. By the way, those AFC North games, Steelers-Ravens, those games, it's so ugly. Like, just turnovers, just physical, running the football, low scoring.
Grinding.
It just literally just a grind, and it's beautiful. I love it.
I know.
I love it. We get so caught up in like what the Bills and Lions did, the 48-42 and all these big offensive plays, but man, Steelers and Ravens just beat each other up.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously both teams are coming off short weeks. Both teams are coming off that. And Pittsburgh just played Philly. Philly was trying to get things right after just playing the Panthers close. So they just played Philly. This is a tough stretch right here for Pittsburgh. You just played Philly on Sunday. Tomorrow you have Baltimore. And then on Wednesday, on Christmas Day next week, you get the Chiefs.
Yeah.
That's 3 games in 10 days. 3 games in 10 days against 3 of the best teams in the NFL, if you're the Steelers. If you come out with 2 wins of those 3, good on you. But I will say there is something at stake, though, in this game for both Pittsburgh and for Baltimore. I know a little bit past a minute here, but that's fine. If the Steelers win tomorrow, they win the AFC North. They clinch it because they'll be up 2 games on Baltimore, and having gone 2-0 against the Ravens, they will have the tiebreaker. So they have clinched the AFC North with a win. Simple as that. Which then means on Christmas Day, when you're playing the Chiefs, go ahead and rest some guys on the short week, and then maybe come back that final week of the year against the Cincinnati Bengals and play some guys just to make sure you keep that rhythm and stay healthy. But that's it. That's it. You win the division. Whereas Baltimore needs to win in order for have a chance to win the division. So, again, a lot at stake. You don't want to be going on the road in the playoffs. But, gosh, I will say this, though, Victoria. If Pittsburgh is coming into my place, if they're, let's say, they are in the wild card team, because they've already clinched the playoff spot. If they're a wild card team coming into my place to play week 1 of the playoffs, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Or Baltimore. I don't like that. Gosh, tomorrow's going to be a lot of fun.
I know. I'm excited because
be
I don't have any MMA to watch either for the rest of the year.
Are you going to be okay?
I don't know.
You sure?
I'm gonna try.
Do you need a minute here to
might
vent?
have to,
do you need a minute take to vent on that?
I might have to watch some things. No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. I might have to, do some old school recaps or something. But yeah,
there you go.
The UFC's not coming back till like January 11th. Boo. But that's okay. It's okay.
It's all right. I think you're going to be fine.
There's plenty of
football. You got awesome football.
And there's hockey.
And there's hockey also tonight as well. But there's also college basketball this weekend. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold today. Victoria producing the show. A lot of big-time college basketball this weekend. And I say big-time in the sense of it's a big-time moment, big-time part of the season for the 4 ACC schools here in the state of North Carolina. I'm just going to go down the list, Victoria, of when games are tipping off this weekend, and we're just going to talk about each of these teams.
Nice.
So I think very quickly, noon tomorrow, number 5 Duke on the road at Georgia Tech. We saw Georgia Tech earlier this season in the ACC opener against North Carolina, play them super close, and North Carolina squeaked out a win. Georgia Tech's no pushover. We saw it was weird. We actually remember talking to Damon Stoudemire, the head coach of Georgia Tech at ACC Tip-Off back in October, about, hey, finding that consistency, because last season we saw them beat some of the top teams in the ACC and some of the best teams in the country. We saw them win those games, or at least play those teams close. But then they would also lose to, like, Boston College, or they would lose, like Notre Dame, like teams that aren't supposed to be good. So Georgia Tech, no pushover. My concern for Duke, obviously Cooper Flagg is the guy, but what about what's going on around him? Are they relying on him too much? Is it too much of guys who are like, all right, Cooper's got the ball, everything's going to be okay, guys, because Cooper Flagg has the ball? You can't be solely reliant on one player, even if he is one of the best players in the country. You have to be more than just one guy. I actually really like the way Tyrese Proctor has played this season. I think he's had a pretty good year. I think his ability to work off the ball, he's developed that game, has been impressive because he was very much a ball-dominant type player. I know Jeremy Roach was a point guard the last couple of years, but you noticed that Tyrese Proctor had the ball in his hands a lot, initiating offense. This year, I think he's been able to develop his game to be good coming off the ball, catch and shoot three-pointers. We've seen him take some really good, when he does have the ball in his hands, create his own shot for some step-back three-pointers as well. He's probably been their best, most consistent three-point shooter throughout the year. I know there's Isaiah Evans. He's been streaky when he gets in, but we haven't seen him play the whole year. Some of the games earlier this season when they played Kentucky and others, he didn't play. when they played Kansas. He didn't play in those games. To me, Con Knippel's been a little bit underwhelming. You can see he has the ability. I just don't know if he's just maybe trying too hard, if he's just trying to do too much. Maybe he's also adjusting to a different role. Because remember, these young guys for Duke, they're all used to being the guy. They're all used to being the guy where they came from. Obviously, Cooper Flagg has been the guy for Duke, but Con Knippel adjusting to a different role. Common Malawash, still a super young player, and I say that obviously because he's a freshman, but just young in his basketball career, still developing. So everyone's kind of still adjusting to their roles. The big thing that I like for Duke, I love their experience coming off the bench. I love the experience that they have coming off the bench. I know Caleb Foster began the year as a starter. Now Sion James is kind of taking over as one of the starting guards, and Caleb Foster coming off the bench. But he had a ton of starting experience last year. I love that he brings that coming off the bench. I also love what Malik Brown has provided on the interior. If Common Malawash is not in there, Malik Brown's in there, what he brings defensively. I love what he does. I love the experience that they have coming off the bench. Next one up, I mentioned UNC basketball, Victoria. Speaking of North Carolina, they take on number 18 UCLA in the CBS Sports Classic on Saturday. That's a 3 o'clock tip in Madison Square Garden. It's unfortunate that this high profile of a matchup, Victoria, is overshadowed by the fact that we have college football playoff on Saturday and also 2 high-profile NFL games on Saturday. Unfortunately, this game's going to get overlooked, which stinks for college basketball because this game, to me, should be a highlight of a game. Like, this game, to me, should be, if you can, play it on a Tuesday or a Wednesday where it can be showcased. Unfortunately, it's going to get kind of buried on Saturday, even if it is on CBS. But it's going to get kind of buried. I mean, gosh, it was, I think it was Kansas Gonzaga, or it was a Kansas Gonzaga or Kentucky Gonzaga played a high-profile game, but it was the same night as all the conference championships. I was like, why? Why are you trying to compete with it? Anyway, UNC basketball, gosh, they desperately need a win against a good team. They have, in all their big games they've played this year, and I'm talking when they played Michigan State, when they played Kentucky, Kansas, I mean, throw Dayton in there as well. They get down big early in games. Big. I'm talking double-digit point deficits, 15, 16, 17 points. In their last game the other day, they were down 17 points. Now, no, they clawed back, but you can't get down 17 in the first half and just, hey, let's claw right back. Let's claw our way back. Hey, we got it even. We got it within a couple possessions here, or even take the lead. You can't afford to do that on a week in and week out, or game in and game out basis. You just can't afford to do it. Now, I know that on the other side of Christmas, they're going to play Campbell, so it'd be kind of a get-right game for them. But when they played Florida the other night, Victoria, at the Jumpman Classic down in Charlotte, they were down 17 points in the first half. You can't afford to keep doing that. The flaws on this roster and the flaws on that team are showing on a night-in and night-out basis. They lack size. Obviously, lack size. Their starting lineup on the front court, when you line up offensively, your biggest guy is 6'8", Van Allen Lubin, that's what he's listed as. He's probably more 6'7". Then you had Drake Powell as your starting 4. He's 6'6". Yeah, he's a springy athlete, but he doesn't really have the build that Harrison Ingram, who was your starting 4 last year, had. Harrison Ingram had the physical build where he could guard guys down low in the post truly, while also stepping out on the wing, and also can guard on the perimeter as well. He had that versatility. And then you're starting three guards with Seth Trimble, with Elliot Cadeau, and with R.J. Davis. And R.J. Davis has talked about it in recent games when they've played other teams, is that opponents aren't afraid to put the 6'4", 6'5" guy on R.J. Davis. They're not afraid to switch on the perimeter. They're not. So guess what? It's making tougher for R.J. Davis, who shot, was it 39.7, 39.8% from three last year. This year he's below 30%. Essentially going from 40% to below 30. It's an over 10% drop-off in his three-point shooting. One, he's forcing up some shots because you're trailing by a bunch. You're forcing up shots. Second of all, defense is focusing on him solely now. Because last year, at least the last couple years, I should say, yeah, you had to worry about him. You also had to worry about Armando Bacot down low. Because if there are missed shots, Bacot will just clean up on the offensive glass and get putbacks. That's, offensive rebounding has been a staple of UNC basketball for years. Last year, they had the versatility in their lineup. Because you had Bacot as a true 5. You had Harrison Ingram as your 4 at like 6'7", 6'8", who could still stretch the floor and shoot from outside, but also could guard on the perimeter. You had Cormac Ryan, who was 6'5". Yeah, you had Cadeau as a freshman that was starting, but he didn't have to do a whole lot because you still had R.J. Davis next to him. And if you wanted to go with a bigger lineup, you could take Cadeau or R.J. Davis out. You could put Cormac Ryan at the 2, Harrison Ingram at the 3, and then whether you brought in Jalen Washington or Jalen Withers off the bench could be your 4. You had that versatility in your lineup. UNC does not have that. They just don't. They've even made changes in their starting lineup where they actually put Jalen Withers and Jalen Washington back on the bench to start games and had those guys coming off the bench. Maybe you need to put Ian Jackson in your starting lineup now and have Seth Tremble coming back off the bench as your 6th guy like you had him doing last year. Maybe that's what you have to do. Cade Tyson, outside of that hot game that he had just a couple days ago where they beat LaSalle, where he had, 23 points, 5 of 10 from 3. Outside of that, he hasn't really provided a whole lot for you as a transfer. He just hasn't. So that's where things stand right now with UNC basketball. The flaws of their roster are showing big time, and right now, it's been rough. It's been rough for UNC basketball. Victoria, I don't think, unless something drastically changes, I don't think they make the NCAA tournament. This is your last chance non-conference to get a big win. Yeah, you'll still get a chance to play Clemson and Duke and in the conference and Pitt. But out of conference, you need these high-profile wins. You just got to have them. Simple as that. All right, let's go to Wake Forest. Speaking of conference matchups. Wake Forest on the road at number 25, Clemson. Now, Wake Forest just needs a big win on the road, period. Their only win, Victoria, away from the Joel this season was against Michigan. That game was played in the Greensboro Coliseum.
Oh, it's not too far away.
That's a home game.
Yeah.
Technically neutral site, that's a home game.
It's literally 25 minutes down the road.
Exactly. All right, guys, who's carpooling? Are you driving?
Right.
All right, cool. I'll pick up snacks along the way.
Go down 40. That's it.
That's it.
Literally.
Yes, I guess, technically a neutral site game, but that was a home game. Now, again, good win against Michigan. Michigan's 8-3 this season. Big Ten opponent. All right, cool. You had a neutral site game against Florida. Now the game was played down in Orlando, but you still played Florida on a neutral site. Loss. Go on the road to Xavier. Loss. On the road at Texas A&M, who's a top 25 team, you guessed it, a loss. They need to win games on the road. It's as simple as that. That's what held them back from the NCAA tournament last year. That's it. They couldn't win games on the road. I remember going to the game last year when they went to Cameron Indoor Stadium to take on Duke, and they hung with Duke the whole time. They had to beat them later that season at home. I was like watching this team and said, there's no reason why this team shouldn't be in the NCAA tournament. That's what I saw last year. Now, this year, a couple of different guys aren't there. No Boopy Miller. He's actually down at SMU. Go Stanks. Go Stanks. Boopy Miller no longer there. Andrew Carr is now at Kentucky playing his last year of eligibility at Kentucky. Those guys are sorely missed because so much now has been put on Hunter Salas to be your primary ball handler, and you don't have that stretch four like Andrew Carr like he was last year. But, man, they just need a win on the road desperately in head coach Steve Forbes. Simple as that. NC State takes on Rider this weekend to wrap things up here to talk some college basketball. NC State on the road taking on Rider. At home taking on Rider. It's kind of like your last get-right game. It kind of really is. The non-conference schedule hasn't been super tough for NC State. I just want to see them shoot better collectively as a team, they have not shot very well, especially from the perimeter. I'm curious to see how Kevin Keats, the head coach, Brandon Huntley-Hatfield, the transfer from Louisville, and Ben Middlebrooks, they've been kind of rotating as in the number 5 as the center spot. I wonder if there might be some stretches during some games where he might put those two in there, just depending on matchup. But it's also tough to expect those guys to also guard on the perimeter when they're both out there on the floor, because someone's going to have to step out on the outside. So I'm curious to see if Kevin Keats might tinker with that in a game like this against Rider. We'll see. But just simply, NC State just got to shoot better.
Yeah.
Make shots. They got tons of guards. They love the press. I love the tempo in which they play or want to play.
Yep.
Just got to shoot better.
Make baskets.
Simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
Get open looks, hit them. This is the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam this afternoon. Victoria producing the show. By the way, if you miss any of the Adam Gold Show, check it out on the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast. Make sure you subscribe. But also, go on 99.9 The Fan's YouTube page. 99.9 The Fan is the flagship station of the Adam Gold Show. Subscribe on their YouTube page. You can stream and watch this thing live. You can actually leave thoughts in the comments section if you want to as well. It's all there for you on the Adam Gold Show. On the other side, Victoria, it's that point of the show. We need to stretch. We also need to make some money.
Right.
Let's place our bets coming up.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Trust ACT Construction Equipment and Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders to position your tree service for success. ACT Construction Equipment is your authorized dealer for sales, service, parts, and rentals for Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders. ACT Construction Equipment has been your authorized dealer for Bandit equipment for over 10 years. Visit one of our 6 North and South Carolina locations or actce.com for more details on Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders. ACT Construction Equipment, always the right equipment for the job.
It's that time of year when we pack our bags for exciting adventures with friends and family. So make sure you don't have to cancel on those you love the most by getting your flu and COVID vaccines. They're safe and effective. Both flu and COVID vaccines have been updated. So make sure you don't miss that flight and protect those around you. Ask your healthcare provider for your updated flu and COVID-19 shots. Don't wait. Get your updated shots today.
Get protected this season with updated COVID-19 and flu shots. Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
Healthcare.gov has plans for health because you have plans for life. All plans cover doctor visits and emergency care to keep you and your family running strong. All plans cover hospital stays and prescriptions so you can have peace of mind. Visit healthcare.gov to explore health plans from the brands you know. 4 out of 5 customers can find a health plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Final deadline to enroll is January 15th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket, it's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
You wouldn't ask your mechanic to help stage your property for an open house.
As NC Realtors, we're experts who make buying or selling property easier for you. Using the latest technology and armed with local insights, our realtors help you find properties you would want to call home. We also know which details make your property more attractive to other buyers. From start to finish, our realtors know. Find out more at ncrealtorsknow.com.
I am Bruno Hinojosa and I live in Asheville. I work construction and I just enrolled in NC Medicaid. I went to their website, applied, and got covered. Doctor visits, yearly checkups, and even emergency care if I need it. Being a business owner can be stressful at times, but knowing that I got covered, it just takes weight off my shoulders. And I can get the care that I need when I need it at low or no cost. And it's one less thing I need to worry about now.
NC Medicaid is for more people. See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
This is Adam Gold.
Dan on Twitter, who you got? Robert Plant or Elvis Presley? That is actually very difficult because I don't want to disrespect Elvis Presley. I think it's Elvis. It's very, very close. And that is an incredible question.
The Adam Gold Show.
Unfortunately, Victoria has no MMA fights to bet on this weekend. No UFC. Sorry, Victoria.
I know, it hurts my heart.
I feel for you. It really does. I know it does. It genuinely does.
I know.
It's okay. We'll be fine. But before we play some bets, we're going to figure it out for you. It's okay. But before we play some bets, Victoria, let's go ahead and stretch.
Yes, and I am kicking things off with this story that our great fearless leader actually told me about this morning, and it's too fantastic not to talk about. So,
Paul the Boss Man?
Yes.
Paul the Bearer? All right.
Yes. So, Joe Burrow, have you heard about his Batmobile?
No, but go on.
Okay.
No, but go on. You have my attention.
Okay. What? Well, yes, Joe Burrow, he has a Batmobile at his home, which is about $3 million, I think they said.
Go
so
on.
We just learned that this past weekend. Well, this article that our great leader sent me was from The Athletic about Joe Burrow giving Christmas gifts to his offensive linemen, which makes sense. This is awesome. He's supporting his dudes that support him throughout the year, you know, keep him alive and whatnot. So I get it. What a sweet thing to do. Now, a guy who owns a Batmobile, what do you think he's buying his offensive linemen?
Tell me.
Okay. I don't know if you're ready for this. So he actually bought them, all of them, Japanese katanas.
What? Wait, like real katanas?
Yes, like real ones.
That's awesome.
He bought them.
That's awesome.
I know. I know. This is amazing. They are complete with their own origin story, town, or battle. So, his left tackle, Orlando Brown, said, Joe does a great job at buying gifts that are extremely meaningful. The fact that he bought me a sword is the most ancient form of respect. I don't know what I would do. I mean, that's a really cool gift. I would totally take, but sword?
That's so awesome.
Like an authentic Japanese katana?
Yeah, I mean, if it's authentic and real, yeah, that's pretty dope.
With your own story engraved on it and everything, I would want to know what he'd think my story is.
I know. That's something we got to figure out between now and the end of the show, Victoria. What's Victoria's origin story?
Yes.
Are you a villain or a hero?
Oh, well,
or
we
an
all
anti-hero?
know. We all
You're
know.
an anti-hero. Let's call it what it is.
With these guns, I'm saving everyone. Okay. But if you're wondering how much money this costs, I don't know how much this costs, but how much he makes. He's on his 5th-year option with his rookie contract. So he's making $29.6 million for 2024 before his 5-year, $275 million contract extension kicks in next year, which is the second highest average, after Dak Prescott. With $26 million.
Plus, as well, like he got a big upfront signing bonus as well.
Oh,
with
yeah.
That contract extension signing
So
bonus.
he's just like, I got the money. Here's a sword. You get a sword. You get a sword. You get a sword.
What a Batmobile. That's what I want.
I know, right?
The one from the Dark Knight.
Oh, my
Tumblr.
gosh.
That's what I want.
I also feel like I read a story about how his house was robbed during the game, like during the football game.
this has actually been a thing where, like, NFL players have had their houses broken into during games.
Right? I mean, what is
So
going
wild.
on? But yeah, I mean, I guess if you have a Batmobile, hopefully you have a security system too. But I don't know. So yeah, Joe Burrow, he is throwing out all kinds of swords. Don't mess with his offensive linemen. They are ready to go. Now, I don't think most of us have the dollar bills to buy swords for people, but if you need some gift ideas that are last minute and aren't gift cards, there are actually a few recommendations. So this is what you could do. Last minute gifters. A digital product, some kind of online class or streaming subscription.
Nice.
That's a good idea because everything is streaming. This one is my personal favorite and experience, going to like a concert.
Yes.
Football game.
Yes.
Hockey game, vacation. Experience. Life's too short, people. So yes, love that one. Have done that many times. Love it. Cryptocurrency was thrown out there.
Here, honey, I got you a
I mean,
piece of a Bitcoin.
Here's some Bitcoin,
Can I
babe.
hold it?
Like,
Nope.
whatever. I don't know about that one. I'm still vouching for the experience one.
Yeah, honestly, the experience,
Yeah.
like going to a concert or a show or something like that, especially if you know
best.
your significant other wants to go and do something, I think it's really, really cool.
And a concert, everyone went. That's totally biased.
concerts are
That's
great.
me, but like everyone wins when you go to a concert. So yeah.
I surprised my girlfriend last year with a trip to St. Croix.
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
pretty fun.
Well, that's what my Pantera and Metallica and Chicago Cubs
Yeah.
baseball thing was. It was all a gift too. So good job. Also, homemade coupons. So like
Yes.
Biff. If you could have a
Your
dog,
dog?
my dog Biff, you could always do a coupon like, hey, you don't have to worry about taking the dog out like for a week or something, you know, like do something cool like that. And then last but not least, sentimental for the sentimental sweet ones. Pictures of you and your significant other or family. Moms probably love those. So just print out a picture of
Probably.
your mom, put it in a cool frame, say I love you, you know, all that stuff. Should probably eat that up. So yeah.
Works every time.
It does. It does. You know what else works every time? Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Placing
Hopefully.
good bets.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you one.
All right, Victoria.
Woo.
Let's see if we can make some money here.
I know.
Believe it or not, I actually went 2 for 3 yesterday on my picks.
Oh, did you?
So, yeah, good for me.
job.
I'll let you kick things off here.
Okay, so my Carolina Panthers gonna be at home. Can't watch them though. Words. But I think Chuba Hubbard is going to score a touchdown. So give me to be an anytime touchdown score. He's minus 165, so it's likely. But put it in a parlay. It's great odds.
Okay, I like it. I dig it. I'm actually going to go right into a four-game parlay here for the college football playoff.
Nice.
All 4 games that are being played this weekend. Give me Indiana plus 6.5. Give me SMU plus 9. Texas on the money line. And give me Tennessee plus 7. That's a plus 782.
Okay.
Give me that.
Nice. Okay, now, sticking with the anytime touchdown scores, since I talked about Joe Burrow, let's go to the Bengals. They're going to be in Cincinnati taking on the Browns. So, give me an anytime touchdown score. Why not T. Higgins? He's plus money, 135.
All right. I like it. You know what? Even though I don't think they're going to win, because I'm going to bet with my heart on this one, Steelers on the money line plus 235 to beat the Ravens tomorrow.
Yeah, why not? They're coming.
Exactly.
Maybe it's a bounce back game, you know? They lost. Maybe it's a bounce back game.
Maybe it is.
So, our Carolina Hurricanes, it's a hockey night in Carolina, but they're going to, not tonight anyway. I'm giving away tickets for that later, so we have to talk about that too. Carolina Hurricanes are going to be in Washington taking on the Capitals. Let's do an anytime goal score. Let's go with Aho. Aho needs a score, so he's plus 200. Anytime goal score.
Okay, I'm actually going to go Seth Jarvis anytime goal score at plus 210.
I love a Jarvie party.
In that one. So, yes, I'm going to go Seth Jarvis in that one. That one should be fun. Speaking of the Carolina Hurricanes, we're actually going to talk with Kaye Florio of the Washington Capitals radio network. She's going to join us in about 30 minutes to talk Canes and Caps, which is coming up later tonight in the nation's capital, up in D.C. But on the other side, Some interesting sound bites from Freddie Kitchens, UNC interim head coach, coming up.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold for my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. I am going to give you a Christmas gift right now. The gift of thousands of dollars of your own money. The gift of hundreds of dollars of your own money. If you pay closing costs, if you have paid closing costs, it's a waste of your money. All you're doing by paying closing costs is lowering your monthly payment by about $50 a month. Hey, I like paying $50 a month less as well. But if you have to pay $5,000 up front to save $50 a month, probably not the best use of $5,000. On top of the fact that if you pay closing costs, you are saying the rates aren't going to drop for about 7.5 years. That's silly. The rates will drop probably early next year. Get ahead of the game. Save your own money, then refinance free of charge again, and save even more of your own money. We're saving you a lot of money. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 2502146.
It's bow time. 'Tis the season for food and family, but thanks to Bojangles, you don't have to spend hours in the kitchen when loved ones come home for the holidays. Set down the spatula and put away the mixing bowls, because this holiday season, Bojangles is ready to help you celebrate with all your family favorites like Chicken Supreme, Cajun Filet Biscuits, or a big bow box of hand-breaded chicken, scratch-made biscuits, and fixins for the whole family. We'll make the food so you can focus on making memories. Head to Bojangles and gift yourself a taste of home. It's bow time.
If it's ho-ho-ho time, it's Bo-Bo-Bo time. Time to order a party-sized platter of that bodacious Bojangles flavor before your next holiday celebration. Choose a Bojangles Supremes platter and get 50 whole breast tenderloin fillets. Or go with a Bojangles dessert platter and get 2 dozen Bo-Berry biscuits, 2 dozen cinnamon twists, or 1 dozen of each. It's a platter full of Bo-liciousness. And don't forget to pick up Bojangles gift cards. Just the right gift for anyone on your list. Hurry, it's Bo time.
Welcome to the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club Aromatherapy Room. Our first scent is the essence of this month's scratch-offs.
I'm getting notes of anticipation mingled with, cold hard cash.
Anyone else? Oh, is that tilapia?
Sorry, that's my lunch.
New Diamond 10X and Lotteria are here. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.99 to 4.23. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Hi, I'm Marcy Bailey from Bailey's Fine Jewelry. This holiday season, why not give a gift that truly shines? At Bailey's, we believe in making every moment special, and our carefully curated selection of fine jewelry is sure to bring joy to your loved ones. From stunning diamonds to designer jewelry and luxury watches, we have the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Gift the magic of a Bailey box and make this Christmas unforgettable. Visit us today in Raleigh, Cary, Rocky Mount, and Greenville. Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Every woman wants a Bailey box under the tree.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. When sending a package, why venture outside? Ship with USPS for a true holiday ride. Want to stay cozy and warm? There's no need to roam. With free package pickup and labels printed from home. We have over 600,000 employees always in motion. And before you know it, your gift has delivered emotion. Spread the holiday joy this season with USPS's Enhanced Network. Learn more at USPS.com/holidayride.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It is a fascinating hire for North Carolina, which instantly becomes the most intriguing program in all of college football. North Carolina hasn't won the ACC since 1980. They've had some great moments, great players like Lawrence Taylor and Drake May. There's a gentleman on the Board of Regents named John Pryor. He was the one who went out and really led the charge to go get Bill Belichick. And when you look at this from 30,000 feet, this is North Carolina telling the SEC, this is North Carolina telling the Big Ten, we are in the big-time football business, even though we've really only won big at a truly elite level in basketball in recent years.
Really, it's an interesting time for UNC football and just college football in general. But in the state of North Carolina, 5 of the 7 FBS college football teams, new head coaches. 5 of the 7 new head coaches. It's crazy to think that Manny Diaz is the second longest tenured coach in the state of North Carolina in terms of FBS schools, and he's been here for a year.
Right.
And he's the second longest.
Wow.
Dave Doran being the longest. Just behind that was Dave Clawson. Crazy times we're living in here right now. Speaking of North Carolina, we're going to dive into some of their transfer portal and recruiting stuff that's going on right now. They just got the quarterback from Purdue as a transfer. I know Purdue had a terrible season this year. If they just had 1 win. But remember, you're getting the player, not the program from which he comes. Keep that in mind. I know a lot of people said with NC State basketball, when they got guys like Brandon Huntley Hatfield and others from Louisville, I said, well, you're getting the individual player, not the program from which they came. Because sometimes there's just bad coaching, or you have not great players around you, and circumstances needs to change. So anyway, speaking of that, Casey Concepcion, the former NC State wide receiver that's in the transfer portal, is he on his way to Chapel Hill? I'm not making that up, folks. That's a real possibility. But before we get into that, let's dive into the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
Speaking of North Carolina football, they are preparing for a bowl game. They got to take on UConn next week in the Fenway Bowl, the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. Freddie Kitchens, who's operating right now as the quote-unquote interim head coach, really for the team for the bowl game. He's acting as head coach for the team getting ready. What challenges does UConn present?
Well, I think, it's more about us than anything, this time of year especially. Again, I'll reiterate, we're trying to just stay and get better each and every day on whatever we're doing, whether we're working on third down in general or first or second down, play action, goal line, red zone. It doesn't matter. Whatever the day of emphasis is, that's what we're trying to do is get better.
I have no doubt that Bill Belichick, the new head coach, is maybe passing some things along to Freddie Kitchens in terms of, hey, this is what we're going to work on. Because Bill Belichick's able to watch practice and those things. But Freddie Kitchens is going to be retained on Bill Belichick's staff. So my guess is that a lot of the stuff that Freddie Kitchens and this current staff that are working on is not only getting ready for the game, but, hey, guys, when Coach Belichick gets here, this is the stuff that we're going to be doing. So he's kind of already being able to implement that a little bit. But there's also the situation of, well, who's the offensive coordinator? Because Chip Lindsey left to be the offensive coordinator at Michigan. So who's calling plays, Freddie Kitchens?
We're collectively doing it as an offensive staff, and, Lonnie's kind of scripting and getting us prepared for practice each and every day.
Just to follow up on that, who do you see calling plays in the bowl game?
Yeah, I don't think we've really determined that yet. We're just trying to get better each and every day, and that really doesn't require a play caller on Thursday, a week and a half before the game.
All right, still figuring it out, Victoria.
Yep.
Still figuring it out. Which, let's be honest, it's not unique to just North Carolina, that situation. It's just not. Because pretty much all these staffs, all of these teams have obviously have players that are in the transfer portal, but we also have people that are leaving for other jobs. It's just a reality of what it is. I mean, for example, you've got a defensive coordinator position that's still open at NC State. You still need someone that's going to call your defense when you play in your bowl game. But also what happens in these situations when, let's say, for example, a coordinator leaves to go for another job. They might bring a couple other guys that were underneath them with them because they trust them. They can continue to spread the message along the same lines of what the offensive coordinator has been doing. So, but also look at Tony Gibson leaving NC State to go to Marshall to become the head coach. Well, if there's someone on his defensive staff that he really likes, like, hey, I want to bring you along to be our defensive coordinator, and I want to bring this person along to be a position coach, again, so the message permeates throughout the team. or even if there's an offensive coach that he really liked that he wants to bring along. That's how this stuff just happens. It happens in college. It happens in the NFL. And also with so many people in the transfer portal, also players maybe opting out for going to the NFL, also players that may just had injuries throughout the season that they were dealing with that maybe required a surgery. You're trying to get a step ahead on the rehab process. You just got to manage your roster. So it's not unique to North Carolina in that regard. I mentioned NC State. Dave Doran, the Wolfpack, getting ready for their bowl game as well. They finished the year 6-6. Dave Doran talked about the importance of finishing off the season with a win.
Yeah, it's really important. It's been a long time. And we started off here with a bunch of bowl wins, and it's just, and then we had a bunch of one-possession bowl losses with a lot of players, good players. Some didn't play in games, and like last year K-State game, there was 45 guys between the two teams that didn't play. When you look at how many guys were in the portal and injured and so on. So I think the bowl dynamic has changed a lot. And so to answer your question, I want to be on that stage. There's no question about it. It's not about the opponent. It's not. It's about winning a bowl game. And it helps momentum, but to me it's more about closure, for the season that you were just in and finishing it with an exclamation point.
Yeah, you want to do that. You don't want to go out with a loss. Have a little bitter feeling going into the off season. You don't want that. You want to have a win going into the off season, of course. It also just looks good. You can sit there and say for Dave Doran, and the same applies for North Carolina. You win your bowl game, you look at your record at the end of the year, and it's going to say 7-6 as opposed to 6-7. Oh, hey, look, you finished above 500. As opposed to, look, you finished below 500. You lost your bowl game. Even though you have opt-outs, you have a bunch of people in the transfer portal and all that kind of stuff, no one's going to take that stuff into context. They're just going to look at the wins and losses because that's all it really matters. It's all it comes down to, the scoreboard. Dave Doran also continued to talk about what does this point of the season look like for not only for him but his team, but also trying to navigate everything that's going on.
You're balancing a lot. And in some cases like ours, there's staff openings, and so, you're behind the scenes either interviewing people or talking to guys on your staff. So there's a lot. It's multitasking at its finest right now. And I'm looking forward to just getting to the bowl, to be honest, and coaching. It'll be fun just to get there and be a part of that with the families, the coaches, the players, and get into that competition.
I used to coach college lacrosse. Did it for 9 years. I was the head coach for 3 of those. There's certain times of the year where the thing you actually do least is actually coach. Because you're juggling so many different things. I was trying to hire an assistant coach late in the season while also trying to balancing out recruits and all these other kinds of things going on, meeting with boosters and all the different stuff that goes into being part of college athletics. I was like, oh yeah, there's still practice at 3 o'clock today. Trying to juggle all those things. I can only imagine for a college staff and a head coach right now how much harder it is now. You're trying to hire to fill a spot, like he said, defensive coordinator and I guess other positional coaches that are going to be there as well. You're trying to fill those spots. You're also trying to talk to your guys that are in the transfer portal, your current players that you might want to try and get to come back, while also recruiting guys from the transfer portal. You just got your early signing day, but also there might still be some lingering recruits out there that you might want to try and get. Oh, and you have a bowl game. You also have a bowl game to get ready for because you want to end the year on a win. It's a ton. And also it's like, oh yeah, I got to do my holiday shopping. Got to do that too.
On top of everything else. Mm-hmm.
Gosh, maybe me right now, I've got work stuff here during the day, work stuff in the evening, and I've been moving. So I've been doing that. It's like, oh yeah, I also have to do my holiday shopping. All on top of that. Just one thing right after the other. It all adds up. But I honestly, truly hope that State, Duke, Carolina all win your bowl games. I want to see it. I want to see it. I root for what's best for the show, Victoria.
Right?
I truly do.
That's what we do.
Including, hopefully, talk about rooting what's best for the show, is that the Carolina Panthers turn things around. And what's really going to turn things around, hopefully this offseason, is the defense gets better. This is where we bring in Mike Kaye, Charlotte Observer, who's going to tell us, hey, are we destined for a change defensively? We'll hear that conversation in 4 minutes.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Stahl powers one out in front. The score! And this line is delivering the presents around Christmas.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Aho sends it across. Robinson back to Aho. Big score! Roll the highlight reel, Sebastian Aho. Merry Christmas!
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Total Wine & More has your holiday gifts. Bourbon for Dad, Cabernet for your sis, champagne for a co-worker, the world's greatest wines. With free curbside pickup, save money and time. Winter liqueurs like peppermint cream turn a festive cocktail into a holiday dream. Now that's a low price you'll shout out with glee when you shop Total Wine for them and for me.
Curbside pickup and delivery available, and the lowest prices for over 30 years only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. A stunning diamond pendant, a pair of classic diamond stud earrings, something new and eye-catching from a world-class designer. Or maybe you're looking for that perfect gemstone piece or a fabulous timepiece. At Diamonds Direct, we have hundreds of styles that are ready to be wrapped and put under the tree. No need to wait for shipping. Come and let our experts help you pick out that headliner gift. Or for some fabulous ideas before you head to the store, see the online seasonal gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. You can even chat now with a virtual assistant for the ultimate convenience. Whether you connect online or in person, you're guaranteed to get the extraordinary value, ironclad warranties, and white glove service Diamonds Direct is known for. And to help make your purchase even more affordable, we've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Experience a Raleigh tradition. Head to Amedio's Italian Restaurant, a family favorite for over 60 years. From weekly specials to their famous homemade recipes, Amedio's uses only the freshest ingredients. Need a touchdown for your tailgate? Amedio's offers delicious takeout, perfect for cheering on the Wolfpack. Or they can host your private party. Amedio's even caters. Amedio's Italian Restaurant, Raleigh's Taste of Italy since 1963. Visit amediosrestaurant.com for details.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Introducing a product that redefines living well.
Luxury.
Designed to satisfy your wildest desires.
Extravagance.
Overflowing with suspense, dripping with wealth.
Fortune.
The $8 million moneymaker from the North Carolina Education Lottery. With prices that start at $100 and go up to $8 million. Every win's a big win.
Whisper.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.14. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
This is Adam Gold.
When the U.S. Space Force plays Air Force in the Military Bowl, then I will recognize the
It'll be out of this world.
The anthem.
Sorry, I had to.
The Adam Gold Show.
Joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, Dennis Cox sitting in for AG this afternoon. Mike Kaye, Charlotte Observer. You can check out all of his awesome work at Charlotte Observer, as well as online. Also follow him on X at Mike_E_K, Kaye. Mike, you had your mailbag column earlier this week, and there are a lot of questions recently about Ejiro Evero, the defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. This I want to dive into right now. Does it feel like this offseason there's going to be a change in terms of the defense? Because the defensive numbers haven't been there in terms of rush defense and overall just generating turnovers. Does it feel like the defense is going to have a new look this coming in 2025?
Well, I think you can't go into next offseason with a completely, run it back defensive staff. I don't think that that's doable. That said, Evero is a very loyal guy based on my read. He is extremely well respected in the building, and I think if somebody were to turn to him and say, hey, look, you need to switch up some of your assistants, do whatever, I could see him balking at that, situation. I think, look, you look at the last couple of years, he's coached opposite an offense that's averaged 13.6 points per game and 13.9 points per game and 17.6 points per game. That's not a recipe for success if you're a defensive coordinator. Yes, it's very cool to win games, 13-10 or 13-9 or 12-9 or those low defensive slugfests. But when it's every week, you're putting yourself behind the eight ball. And the problem is his run defense couldn't stop anything. It just seems like every week we're talking about a player or a team rushing for a season high. The only reason why Saquon Barkley didn't run for 200 yards against this team is Nick Sirianni overthought his offense, and Saquon Barkley touched the ball like 9 times in the first half a couple of weeks ago. So, I could see there being changes either to the staff or to the scheme, because as of right now, it's just not working from a run defense standpoint. Oh, and by the way, the pass defense, while ranked in the top 12, is also not getting passed on a lot because teams are just beating them, and you don't have to throw as much when you're not playing from behind. That said, they're giving up a ton of passing touchdowns this season.
That they are. They're giving up a lot of pass touchdowns, and part of that also ties in with the pass rush. And I know DJ Wana missed a chunk of time earlier this season, coming off a quad injury, also dealing with a blood clotting issue as well. I know this team is without their best player in Derek Brown. And I also know that Shaq Thompson got hurt early in the year as well. But I know this past Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys, you have basically 9 of your 11 intended starters playing in that game, and they still rushed for over 200 yards. Is it a bad sign that, yes, you're without your best player in Derek Brown, that were you too dependent on that one guy being there, or is this just simply the talent isn't there overall for this defense?
Well, I think going into training camp, we kind of knew that they had a paper-thin defense. I mean, they kept talking about how the waiver wire was going to, help them improve depth. Whenever somebody talks about that, it's them openly admitting they do not have depth, and specifically on defense. And I think, look, losing Brian Burns, losing Frankie Luvu was not a great situation for Evero. That said, they brought in a bunch of guys who knew his system, and all of them, to an extent, have faltered. While Josie Jewell's put up really nice numbers, I'd say that he is also not playing particularly well against the run, which is kind of what he was known for. A'Shawn Robinson has played really well, but yeah, like you said, it's a tough beat because there's no reason why a 4-technique defensive end should be the difference between, being a somewhat confident offense or a somewhat confident defense and, well, the worst run defense I've ever covered.
Yeah, it definitely ranks up there with one of the worst run defenses, especially in the entire league. Well, it is the worst rush defense in the entire league. Mike Kaye, Charlotte Observer, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for AG. I look at the offseason, you mentioned going into the year, and you look at some of the contracts and the guys that were brought in. Jordan Fuller on a 1-year deal. You also look at A'Shawn Robinson, Josie Jewell, just 3-year deals. Contracts that you can get out from after this year, it seems like Carolina set themselves up for, hey, if Evero is not here after 2024, whether he gets a head coaching job or we make a decision, it seems like this team is set to be out and ready to retool this defense this offseason if they choose so.
Yeah, I think, look, you saw the offense get basically a facelift this year. I think there will be a similar action on defense this year. I think they will go very heavy on defense in the draft. I think they will go pretty heavy on defense in free agency, whether Evero's here or not. And I think that was always kind of the plan. I mean, I think if you watch what they were doing during the offseason, it was very clear on defense they had a specific type, guys who either had a background with Evero or had a background with the front office or played in similar schemes. And, hey, they were going to roll the dice on a bunch of these guys. And so I think when you look at the totality of what the defense is, it was very clear that they were doubling down on Bryce this year to figure out what he was. And so they wanted to give him better protection. They spent a ton of money on the offensive line. And so I think they're at a point now where they need to do the same for defense. And while the cap might seem like a rosier picture, they've got a lot of void years and reworked contracts that are going to have to be either renegotiated, reworked, what have you. They need to figure out what they're going to do with Taylor Moton. They've got to figure out what they're going to do with J.C. Horn. They've got to bring some salary cap numbers down, and it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Final question here from Mike Kaye, Charlotte Observer. You mentioned J.C. Horn and a couple other guys as well. It's a big offseason in terms of J.C., and I think it's also a big offseason for Ike Ekwonu as well, because the organization has to decide on Ike Ekwonu, hey, are we picking up a fifth-year option on this guy, or are we not going to? I think it's a big decision that's going to be made. And also, do you offer a contract extension for J.C. Horn, who's give him credit. He's been healthy this entire season. You have to give that guy a lot of credit. What do you see with those two guys, JC and Ike Ekwonu, happening this offseason for these two young guys that were high draft picks for this franchise?
Well, specifically at left tackle, taking the fifth-year option is smart. One, it gives you leverage against the contract negotiation. But two, left tackles get paid a lot of money, and for the most part, getting that guy taken care of initially makes a lot of sense. I know he had a rough game against Dallas. He gave up 2 sacks, but he's only given up 5 sacks on the entire year. And for the most part, he's only given up 5 QB hits. So I actually think he's improved mightily under Joe Gilbert. I think the offensive line coaching trio has done a really nice job with the group overall. I mean, he's still only in his, in his third year, and I think you've seen marginal improvement. He still has his quirks with penalties, but he's probably a top 3 run blocker at the position in the league, and that's what he was always known for. He was always going to be a work in progress as a pass blocker. I think he's played relatively well. I think with J.C. Horn, the thing is, as you mentioned, having a durable year was really big for him. He had a groin injury coming into the Dallas game, still played. I think that speaks to his mind. He's been among the top guys, if not leading the league in run stops at the cornerback position. We've seen him add blitzing to his repertoire. He's got 2 sacks. I think he's a guy who still has a ton of upside. He's got great length at the position. He's scheme versatile. There's so much to like about J.C. Horn. Look, I know that there have been moments where it's been confusing because Evero doesn't have him shadow the top wide receiver. There's an argument to be made that that's a mistake. He does play off quite a bit, which I think really is more of a favor of the scheme than his technique. And look, I think he is a guy that when healthy is a top 10 cornerback. It's just a matter of will he be constantly healthy. And the thing is he's going to have a big roster contract number in that 5th-year option. I believe they should get ahead of that option, similar to what they did with Derek Brown. Now it's time for JC to get his.
Mike Kaye, Charlotte Observer. Give him a follow there. Acknowledge his work on the Charlotte Observer. Mike, thanks for your time. Really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Dennis.
It's going to be a big-time offseason for the Carolina Panthers. It really is. I know myself included have said this offseason, especially with the draft, they have 9 picks. Focus on the defense. So much of this past offseason was trying to get the offense right. There are still pieces needed to be added there. Not saying you just completely ignore it. But this upcoming offseason really needs to be a retool of the defense. My concern is that if Evero is retained, is brought back as defensive coordinator, and you draft guys that fit his scheme, quote unquote, what if he's gone after next year? Do those guys, can they fit into other defenses that you might bring on? This is the reason why I think this is a good opportunity for Dave Canales and Dan Morgan to make the change at defensive coordinator, bring in guys that fit that defensive coordinator, that new DC, that fit that scheme well with your offseason signings, free agents, and drafts. If you decide to make trades, whatever it might be, this is a chance, this opportunity, this offseason to really retool the defense because it needs it badly. Badly. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam this afternoon. It's a big night on the ice for the Carolina Hurricanes. They are actually playing the number 1 team in the NHL. The number 1 team in the NHL. That's who the Carolina Hurricanes face tonight in the Washington Capitals. Katie Florio, Washington Capitals pre- and post-game on the Washington Capitals radio network. She's going to join us and tell us, was Washington really expecting to be this good at this time of year? We'll have that conversation. Talk to Katie next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Every Friday night, FanDuel is giving all customers a bigger payout on select NBA first bets. First is in quotation marks there. First bets lets you get in on the action from the opening tip, so you can bet on stuff like who's going to score the first basket, what type of basket will it be, what team will be the first to 15 points, and so much more. And the best thing is, you don't have to stick around for the end of the game. You could be done in like 10 minutes and then go to the club. I don't know if you're going to the club. I don't go to the club. Look for Friday First in the FanDuel app to find your profit boost. FanDuel.com/AGS. Claim your Friday First profit boost now. FanDuel.com/AGS. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
A crisis moment is any moment where you feel overwhelmed and as if you aren't able alone to handle what's happening. You don't have to be alone with that feeling, and when that feeling comes is exactly when you should reach out, you should get connected, and you should be in community. We care, we listen, we help. Call, text, or chat 988 anytime.
Call, text, or chat 988-24/7.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
Healthcare.gov has plans for health because you have plans for life. All plans cover doctor visits and emergency care to keep you and your family running strong. All plans cover hospital stays and prescriptions so you can have peace of mind. Visit healthcare.gov to explore health plans from the brands you know. 4 out of 5 customers can find a health plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Final deadline to enroll is January 15th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
You wouldn't ask your mechanic to help stage your property for an open house. As NC Realtors, we're experts who make buying or selling property easier for you. Using the latest technology and armed with local insights, our Realtors help you find properties you would want to call home. We also know which details make your property more attractive to other buyers. From start to finish, our Realtors know. Find out more at ncrealtorsknow.com.
This is Adam Gold.
I'm definitely, if I had my choice, I'd say I go with the real tree. Just the whole thing, it just brings up what Christmas is all about. I kind of enjoy that, but we're no longer doing that.
I am a real tree, and then last year my wife threw a curveball at me and we had an artificial tree, and I didn't like it.
The Adam Gold Show.
This is it.
I love this. I know what a lot of Carolina Hurricanes fans might want for Christmas. Some stability in the goaltending after Pyotr Kochetkov. I think that's something that they want.
Yes.
I'm sure we're going to see Pyotr Kochetkov in net tonight as they take on the Washington Capitals on the road in the nation's capital. And this is where we turn to Kaye Florio. She's the pregame and postgame host on the Washington Capitals radio network. She's joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold today. Katie, when the Washington Capitals assembled their team this offseason, they brought in a bunch of different guys.
They sure did.
They brought in a bunch of, tons. Andrew Mangiapane, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Jacob Chikrin. Did you expect all of this to come together so quickly for them?
Well, first off, thank you so much for having me on today. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Obviously, the Canes, a great team too. Looking forward to the matchup tonight. I'm from the Carolinas originally, so definitely a little more special for me. But to answer your question, I don't think anybody did. I mean, I think we all kind of thought, okay, well, I don't think we're going to be worse than we were last year. Not that it was necessarily a bad year, but obviously a first-round playoff exit, you want to get past that. And so I think first and foremost, we knew that the parts were coming from all over, right? They were younger, they were faster, they're coming on the D, they're coming on a new goaltender and Logan Thompson as well. And so I think everyone was optimistic, but I don't think they expected it to mesh as well as it did. And that's a word that just being in the locker room every day, we hear so much. And I know that can kind of sound cliche with, teams, we get along. But I'm in there every day doing interviews after practice, and this team is definitely special. The way that they do just get along off the ice and the way that the new guys fit right in with the veterans and both on the ice as line mates and off the ice as teammates has just made for a really, really good culture here as well. And so I definitely credit head coach Spencer Carberry and the coaching staff to being able to kind of speed up that transition period as well.
Well, we know about culture here down with Rob Brindamore, the head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, and things are working up there for Washington. They have the best points percentage in the entire NHL. So literally, it's the best team in the NHL so far this season. Kaye Florio, Washington Capitals, pre- and post-game on the Washington Capitals radio network, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Speaking of this team, I know going into the offseason, there's still a lot of questions of Nick Backstrom, the hip injury, also with TJ Oshie and the injuries he's dealing with, and some of the aging players that they had on the roster. I mean, I remember I grew up in Virginia, so I watched the Washington Capitals a lot growing up, and I saw these guys when they were much younger, even guys like John Carlson, but even John Carlson, and I know Tom Wilson, he's only 30, but on the NHL, he's been in the big leagues, for nearly a dozen years at this point. Even these guys at the quote-unquote older age, with Wilson and before Alex Ovechkin and the injury, and with John Carlson, it seems like they found the fountain of youth themselves.
Yes, I think that's a great way to describe it, because sometimes you gotta look and think, oh my gosh, I forget that Wilson is only, 30 years old. And that's because, A, the way he is producing this year. I mean, I know everybody saw it to get hit in the face with a Jacob Chikrin slap shot a few days ago. And, I mean, the way it looked, and not only to go out and finish the game, but to score 2 goals and have the game-winning goal, and then another multi-goal performance by him just a few games later. I mean, he's a warrior, and that's how he is on the ice. But once again, he's a guy that in the locker room, he has a very commanding presence. Like when he speaks, the players listen, and it's a great balance of still that youthfulness. He's one of the first guys to sort of joke around, maybe chirp some of the other guys, but at the same time, you can tell that his opinion is widely respected. And obviously it's guys like him and Carlson that, they're leaders to begin with, but over these last 4 or 5 weeks, they've really kind of had to take it to a new level when Alex Ovechkin obviously had the broken fractured fibula, and he's been out. I mean, great to see his healing process, and he's definitely healing ahead of schedule. We just got told today that we will probably see him in right after Christmas, so that's obviously very encouraging news for the Capitals. But at the same time, I think that's, you can credit those guys like that who for really stepping up when they've been needed most.
The Russian machine never breaks. Let's call it what it is.
True.
My freshman year in college, I played football and lacrosse, but during football season, I broke my fibula, and it took me 6 weeks to actually be able to start jogging again. I didn't have to have surgery, and this guy's 3 weeks out, and he's already skating. It's pretty amazing what he's been. What is it about Ovechkin, at least early on this season, that guy we had 15 goals in 18 games? So, talking about a 39-year-old finding the fountain of youth. What was it different about him that all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, this wasn't expected?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good question that I think we're all still kind of asking ourselves, because obviously last year, I think he had at the All-Star break in February with being healthy every game, I think he had 8 goals. And so we didn't know. And then obviously on top of that comes the pressure, the media. And I mean, I don't think he's one he's one of the best to ever do it, been in the league 20 years. I don't necessarily think he lets, the media outside talk it to him, but I mean, that's the chase, even during training camp. I mean, that's just a storyline that's brought up every day, and I think it's going to be until he breaks this record. And so he could have easily used, the age, the start to his season last year, the outside media talk to really kind of use that as sort of an excuse, but he's not the guy to do that. And so it has just been incredible and so fun to watch the start of the season that he's had. And I think he's a guy, it goes off of momentum. When he's feeling himself, he's feeling himself. And so one good game is going to translate into 2 good games and then 3 good games. And that's exactly what we were seeing. So obviously it was a huge letdown, first and foremost. We're worried about his health to see what had happened in that Utah game, just because I think prior to that point he had 5 goals in less than 2 games when he got hurt in that third period in Utah. And so it was definitely a bummer to see, but again, we need to ask him his diet. I don't know what it is, but those Russian genes. But yeah, his healing time is just incredible. I mean, today it was no secret. It's out there in the media. He was already cleared for contact. So for about 4 weeks, and not only has he been skating for a week and a half, he's already cleared for contact out there, pushing and shoving a little bit with his teammates today. So obviously from a Capitals standpoint, that's super encouraging, and we definitely just, hope that he continues to heal to the full extent and that we get back in this race soon.
Yeah, 3 goals against the Vegas Golden Knights, then 2 goals against Utah before the injury. So, 5 goals in less than 6 periods. It's amazing what he did. I think Canes fans are breathing a sigh of relief. Oh, he's not playing tonight. Okay, good. Katie Florio, Washington Capitals pre- and post-game, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam this afternoon. I'm actually kind of surprised at the level of goaltending that Washington has been getting, because you look at Charlie Lindgren, Logan Thompson. Guys have been in the league for a few years, but a pretty nondescript goalie tandem. But they're not playing, let's say, lights out, quote unquote, to say. Not trying to downplay what they've done this season, but it's not like they've been scrubs either. It seems like they're even the 2 of them are playing above their level.
Yes, I think so too. And I think in the beginning of this season, Carberry made it very clear he kind of saw them as a 1A and 1B, not as a starter and a backup. And that's really what's happened. I think all but one game, it has gone in a completely even rotation every other game. And so they're getting an equal amount of opportunities and equal amount of chances. And I think what makes it funny, just kind of for the fan going off the ice, goalies are known, to have maybe different or interesting, unique personalities to begin with. And this tandem could not have opposite personalities. Charlie is just so easygoing, very maybe cerebral in the way that he approaches goaltending. And Logan is definitely a media favorite in the locker room. He's blunt. He's honest. He's going to give you what you want. He has lightly accidentally sworn in my interviews before and been like, oops, can you cut that out? And it just kind of goes to show the type of person he is. Super just, down to earth, loves to be happy, laugh, have a good time. And so I think it kind of starts with their personalities and the way they feed off of each other. It's obviously, there's competition. They're both fiery and competitive. I mean, you have to be to be successful at this level. But the way that their personalities work and fit together, I think, has led for success on the ice. And, Logan already looking to pick up his 13th win of the season. Charlie just hit double digits. And so obviously kind of a rough stretch earlier this week. But prior to that, Lindgren had 4 straight wins. And so it's just, they've been, like you said, maybe not lights out, but they're getting the job done. And that's, that's all we could ask from them. I think together, salary-wise, it's one of the cheapest tandems in the league too. So definitely talk about getting a bang for your buck. They have earned every penny of their contract and have definitely made a huge reason of why this team is successful and have just, really, really contributed to the culture this year.
Well, Pyotr Kochetkov, the goalie for the Carolina Hurricanes, after his shutout the other day, dropped a couple F-bombs. So it's nothing that we're not used to down here. So, yeah, I totally get it. But Lindgren and Thompson, their combined salary, they're making it just slightly under $2 million combined this year, which is phenomenal, means you can really put a lot of money into the rest of your team, especially when you have guys like Oshie and Backstrom on long-term IR. Final thing for Katie Florio, Washington Capitals Radio Network. Is this sustainable, what they're doing right now? Because I know the Canes and the Caps, they're competing for that top spot in the Metropolitan Division. Whoever takes second, I know they're obviously competing with the New Jersey Devils as well. You don't want to face the Devils in the first round of the playoffs.
Right.
Is what Washington is doing, is it sustainable, do you think? Or is this like just a hot stretch to start the year?
I wish that's like the $1 million question, and obviously covering this team, I want the answer to be yes. And I think maybe at the beginning of the year, you could have questioned more, this is just fresh legs, beginning of the season, this is going to tail off. And granted, we have a long way to go. And so I think first and foremost, for this to be sustainable, they have to stay healthy like any team. When you start getting hit with the injury bug, then that's when it can really go south. But I think, having to deal with Ovechkin out so early in the season, Capitals are 8-4-1 since his absence, which, not perfect, but also not a losing record,
pretty
which
good.
Is what they've had in past years when he's been out. And so that kind of forms our point of other guys like, Alexei Protas and Connor McMichael. I mean, Connor McMichael is just having a career year as well, only 23 years old. That proves that they're stepping up and they're carrying their weight. And so personally, I think the biggest difference from this season to last season is last year the Capitals were hanging on to 2-1, 1-0 wins, and this year they're putting up, 4, 5, 6, 7 goals a night. They just dropped to second in the league in goals for, but they were number one, averaging over 4 goals per game through these first 30-plus games. And so I think that's because we're seeing that production from top to bottom. I mean, we essentially have almost a brand new fourth line. Nick Dowd was the only returner, but you've added Brandon Duhaime, Taylor Radish. Taylor Radish has already surpassed his total point production from last season with Chicago, and he did so in 46 fewer games this season. And so it's not just the guys like Tom Wilson and John Carlson and Alex Ovechkin that are carrying this team. It's everyone, top to bottom. And so I think as long as that can stay and you are getting that contribution from everywhere, then I do think this is sustainable. Are they going to win the Stanley Cup this year? I don't know, but I would love to see that. But I definitely think that if this can continue, they have a legitimate chance to go on a fun run.
Should be a fun one tonight, that's for sure. Katie Florio, Washington Capitals Radio Network. Give her a follow on X at Katie Florio. Katie, thanks for your time. Enjoy tonight's game.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Big thanks to Katie Florio joining us. Again, tonight's going to be fun. If you're a hockey fan, if you're a Canes fan, these are the nights that you look forward to. It's literally the number 5 team, the Canes, in terms of points percentage in the league, taking on the best team in the NHL in points percentage, the Washington Capitals. It's you can't ask for anything better if you're a Canes fan tonight. You just can't. Hopefully, by the way, Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold, Victoria producing the show. Hopefully, we might see a couple one-timers today for the Carolina Hurricanes, but until then, Victoria's going to tee up some one-timers. Hit me, V. What you got?
I am. Okay, so I actually have a lot of football ones. So kicking things off with some football talks. So, looks like the Chiefs will be playing Mahomes tomorrow versus the Texans. Do you think this is a wise choice for the Chiefs? Why or why not?
It's kind of tough. I say no. I don't think it is a wise one. But I get why. Because you are trying to keep distance from the Buffalo Bills, who are 11-3 right now. Chiefs are 13-1. If the Chiefs win this game, they all but secure the top spot in the AFC. Essentially do. Now, especially if they win and Buffalo gets upset by New England this weekend, lock, wrap. The only team that can catch them, really truly catch them, is Buffalo. That's it. The only team that really can catch them is Buffalo because Buffalo has that head-to-head win. 3 games left in the year. Buffalo's 2 games back. If they finish with the same record, then Buffalo takes the top spot in the AFC. So I get why, because guess what? If you win this game, Thursday next week against Baltimore may not be as important, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I get why. But, hey, if he can play, then he can play. And it has to be smart from him. You can't rely on your legs as much, but also their offensive line is not that good. And hence why he's had to scramble a bunch this year. He's gotten hit a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm a little bit torn on this one.
Yeah.
But I see both sides of it. Personally, I would say, hey, you know what? No. Take the week and a half to rest up to play Baltimore. That would be me.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Baltimore, the next game, Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. So, looking at the Steelers are coming off of a loss. This is a big rivalry game that they have coming up now. Looking at their quarterbacks, they have Russell Wilson. However, would something like a QB swap, maybe putting in Fields, be more successful for them because Fields is more of a scrambler?
Unfortunately, I mean, if you're looking at that long term, maybe in the playoffs, possibly. I know Justin Fields is actually going to be out this weekend. I think remember correctly, it's an abdominal injury.
Yikes.
So he is not playing. He's actually officially ruled as out. So you have to ride it with Russell Wilson. Russell is just the more accurate passer. I think, I'm torn on this one because I don't think the Steelers with Russell Wilson have been that good in the red zone offensively, and the running element from Justin Fields gives you that. I'm torn on this one. To me, I think you stick with Russ just because he's been there, done that, but doesn't mean when Justin Fields is back healthy that you still can't use him in some different ways. But I'm torn on this one because, yeah, the running ability from Justin Fields is there, but the accuracy just isn't. The consistent passing isn't, whereas it's opposite with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I wish I could combine the two.
I know. Morph them into one quarterback.
Really? I think you actually have a really, really good one.
Yeah.
Russell just isn't the same what he used to.
With
Let's call it what it is.
Most players. Well, another game that could be dangerous because the Bengals versus the Browns. Bengals, they're right there on the bubble. Browns, they're out, so they've got nothing to lose in this one except they just want to win. So, how do you see this one going?
I think Cleveland is actually making a change at quarterback again. I don't think I don't think that Jameis Winston starting. I think they're going back to Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I think is because they're basically Kevin Stefanski, their head coach, said, hey, week to week. The offensive firepower is just too much for Cincinnati in this one. Call it what it is. And they have to score 90 points to win games because that's just because their defense is non-existent. You think the Panthers have a bad defense? Yeesh.
Mm-hmm.
Bengals are just as bad.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's seriously non-existent defense. Bengals probably win this one.
Yeah, scrape by somehow. Maybe with their new Japanese katanas. Who
Yeah,
knows?
good for their offensive line, right?
So the Lions and the Bears are this Sunday.
Oh, my.
Yeah, right. Oh, my. See what you did there. So do the Lions have any hope? It's not really about this game against the Bears, but do the Lions have any hope making it through the playoffs with the defense or lack thereof that they have nowadays?
Their injuries are just
so bad.
It's a ton. Aleem McNeil, Aiden Hutchinson. Even there's a slight outside chance that Aiden Hutchinson might be ready for the playoffs, even though he suffered that broken leg earlier in the season. They're just so beat up. They lost like another corner. They're just so beat up defensively. I don't know how they get through it, but if their offense keeps scoring 40-something points a game, you're going to have a chance.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. I don't think they do, which is unfortunate because that team is really, really good. I think the injuries coming at the worst time.
I know. I feel so bad for Dan Campbell and company.
Yeah, I know.
I had high hopes for them.
Likewise. But hey, you never know.
You never know.
You just never know.
You never know. So, also, you never know. Another quarterback swap. The Falcons.
Oh, wow, yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons are taking on the Giants this weekend at home in Atlanta, which should be an easy win. However, they are kicking out Kirk Cousins and putting in Michael Penix. So could this game be tighter than maybe some might anticipate? How do you see that going?
The Giants defensively, their pass rush is really good. Everything else about their defense stinks. They can't stop the run. If they're not actually getting to the quarterback, you can carve them up. It's what you can do. I think this is actually a good first game for Penix because you're not playing against a good team. Simple as that. That's really it. I think it's a good first game for Penix and a must-win game because Atlanta's one game back of Tampa for the top spot in the NFC South. One game back.
You better hope the Saints don't win because that'll make things messy.
Oh, gosh. Saints are still eligible to win.
Yeah, they're still on the bubble.
At 5-9.
Stupid. So speaking of also kind of dumb playoffs, looking at the Eagles, Bills, and Ravens. These teams sometimes have had their struggles in the playoffs. So which team this season might have the most pressure to make it and be successful in the playoffs?
In the playoffs? There's so much talk around the Eagles because they got to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. It's probably Philly. Yeah. It's probably that. That's a really good question, though, because Baltimore has struggled in the playoffs with Lamar Jackson, and there's still the hangover, the cloud hanging over the head, I should say, of Josh Allen in Buffalo. But to me, it might be Philly because it seems like every minute they want to fire Nick Sirianni, their head coach. It's like, you just keep having double-digit win seasons, making deep playoff runs, but no, let's fire that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's so much drama. So much drama. Hopefully they got that drama out of there for their locker room. Woo! And last but not least, bringing it back to my Panthers that I'm not going to be able to watch this weekend. They play the Cardinals, the Buccaneers, and the Falcons. Is there another win in there for my guys?
Maybe one. Let's be honest, maybe one. For a team that was predicted to have 5-6, that was my pick. But no, probably maybe one.
Yeah.
Maybe the Tampa game. I don't know.
I want to say Vegas set the over-under. They set the line at like 4.5 this year.
I think it was 5.5.
So, if you took the under, you're probably safe. Feeling
pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, that's one-timers with Victoria. A real quick note here for all of you college football fans of the state of North Carolina. NC State fans, cover your ears. On3 is reporting that NC State transfer wide receiver Casey Concepcion, who's currently at Texas A&M, wrapping up trips after visiting Texas A&M, Alabama, Colorado, Miami. Sources tell On3 that North Carolina and Bill Belichick have entered Concepcion's recruitment in a big way. Belichick and UNC general manager Michael Lombardi spoke with Concepcion's camp apparently last night. Making it clear that the Tar Heels want to keep Concepcion in the old North State, trying to keep him in the triangle, but this time trying to bring him over to UNC.
Wow.
I have no dog in the fight either way between Carolina and State. I really don't. But for the drama of this, oh my gosh, I'm rooting so hard for this.
Oh, yeah.
I am. Oh, my gosh, that would spice things up so much.
Big time.
Oh, give it to me. Give it to me.
Bring the milk.
I mean, we've already seen, right? We've already seen Jordan Waters go from Duke to NC State. But between State and Carolina, well, we're crossing lines here. We're crossing lines big time. Make it happen. Big thanks to you for listening. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your holidays. We will have an Adam Gold show for you on Monday. But until then, enjoy the college football playoff. Enjoy the football. Enjoy times with family. Victoria, thank you.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, and it's Friday, and that means every Friday night, FanDuel is giving all customers, a bigger payout on select NBA first bets. That lets you get in on the action from opening tip, and then you can go